Slash and Burn is a podcast about fanfiction. It is filled with loud swearing and explicit sexual description. It is not for children, nor the weak of stomach, nor will. Although we attribute to authors as best we can, we have no legal rights to the written works we discuss, nor the characters and universes upon which they are based. We also firmly believe that as long as what you're doing isn't hurting anyone else, whatever you do to get your jollies is all well and good. Join us and have some laughs over the world of fanfic. And seriously, this shit is filthy. You've been warned. Welcome to the magical realm. Hello! Oh, welcome! Here we are!
It's us.
Once again.
It's the new year.
Your friendly podcast hosts. We're here.
Again.
The new year.
We're back.
Again. New year. This is technically year 4 of Slash and Burn.
And we've got like, what, 5
4
episodes?
years, 11 episodes.
Do we really have 11 episodes?
I have this marked as episode 11, which means it's actually episode 12.
Wow. I'm impressed. I didn't realize we had gotten that many under our belts.
Yeah, my cousin asked me how many we had out the other day, and the answer was...
Several.
10, because it was actually up to episode 9, because episode 10 is still on the pipe, and by in the pipe I mean currently being transferred off of my laptop because I'm a lazy son of a bitch. But yeah, we're here. We're back sort of on schedule.
Yes.
What more could you ask for? You could probably ask for an even more regular schedule, but go to hell.
Yes.
No, we're really trying to get there, and for real, we love you. So how are you, co-host O Mine?
I'm pretty good.
Yep. No parasites literally sucking the life force out of you?
Not anymore, thank God. But if you do hear anything in the background...
Really? Because I was pretty sure that was still going on.
Well, okay. Yeah. I guess I'm feeding her, yes.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
From your literal life force.
That's
right.
True. Yeah, but I burned so many calories doing it, though.
Fair enough.
How about you?
And you get to use a Lovecraftian horror tube machine.
That thing, I hate it so much. I'll be so happy to never use that again. I really will. Like, I read on the internet a blog entry by some lady who, like, gave her the funeral after she was done using it, and I was like, what? Who cares? And now I understand. Yeah. I was like, do I want to burn it? Like, do I want to smash it? I don't know. But, yeah. Pump's not great, but, you know, my baby's a pain, so gotta do what I gotta do. But anything new and exciting with you?
I've been playing the shit out of Tomb Raider. It's really good.
Tomb Raider, really?
Oh, it's fantastic.
The one that came out a couple years ago?
No, the sequel to that one.
Oh.
Yeah. It's even better than that one.
Because I really enjoyed that one.
I know, but guess what? This one's an Xbox exclusive.
Get out of my house.
Heretical Sony household. Fuck Sony with a fork.
I play my Tomb Raider on the computer, so...
Well, the PC version is actually coming out in January.
Oh, good. Well,
it's not going to be on PlayStation till, like, next year sometime, but...
Yeah, no, I play it on the computer. Yeah. I've always played them on the computer. Remember, you made me buy the last one. You talked me into it.
Yeah, and then you really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Just like with everything.
Shut up.
But yeah, that and Fallout and way too many games on my cell phone. Work is stressful. Mm-hmm. I have a note here that I need podcasting to be my job instead of accounting.
It would be good to have podcasts be a source of income. Sorry,
because this is only stressful in the most fun kind of way. You know what I mean? Unlike work, which is stressful in the not fun kind of ways. Sure.
It's such a distant memory to me now.
Rub it in. Our topic this week is Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yes, we literally rolled for it.
Yeah, I think we've come to a decision that we're going to go fandom tag, because there's just more fandoms than there are tags, and we don't want to blow through tags too fast.
I enjoy the tag episodes a lot, I think, but you're right, eventually we're going to run out.
So we rolled, as Kira said, we did literally roll for it out of several possible topics. And Fullmetal Alchemist came up. So why don't you go ahead and give us a brief rundown of what Fullmetal Alchemist is?
Well, I've seen it as an anime, but I'm pretty sure that it is also a manga.
You've seen both the anime.
Yes, right? I have. Yeah. And so it's about these brothers and
a crying baby.
Clearly. And they try to save their dead mother and using alchemy, and it goes horribly wrong, and, you know, one of them ends up without a body, and the other one ends up missing some limbs, and then other stuff happens.
Yeah, other stuff happens is a good way to put it, because at the beginning it seems kind of like light and like shoujin-y, and then like as you get further into it, it gets like more and more and more fucked up
Dark.
and like Lovecraftian.
Yeah, it really does.
Like horror.
Yeah, I
anime
would say
almost.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And so yeah, there's two.
It gets dark.
There's two animes that are very similar thematically, but very different storyline wise. Because the one hews straight to the manga, the second one hews very close to the manga, and the first one kind of does that thing that a lot of anime used to do a couple decades ago, where it would be like the first 4 episodes would like be to the source material, and then they would just take like one plot point and boom, way off in the other direction. At the end, they would look nothing even close to the same.
Yeah, completely unrecognizable. Yeah.
So, my thoughts on this before we begin, and then you can give yours, is, again, we have a world here that is just begging for crazy fan fiction shit.
Yeah. Like weird sex stuff.
Dying for it. You've got a world full of souls that are inhabiting otherwise inanimate objects, and there's a mystery, all-powerful god gate that on the other side of it, who knows what lives except for all sorts of horrible creatures, but also the granting of any wish that you can possibly imagine as long as you can figure out how to get through the gate. And there's homunculi that aren't really people, but they look like people, but they were created out of things. And
there's like...
They're named for the 7 deadly sins, and there's like horrible tentacle beasts. And
merging things together.
And you can turn anything into literally anything else. Like that's the titular alchemy is these people have this power to transmute stuff into other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's like
it seems wide open for interpretation.
So right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a million fun things you could do with fanfic in this world, which means I am almost positive that at the end I'm going to be supremely disappointed by what people actually did do. But let's get to it and see how it goes. So who wants to start off?
Well, I have 4, but like one of them doesn't really even count, and I just kind of took it in case we had like duplicates or.
I don't even know how many I have because I just started grabbing stuff at the end because none of the stuff that I had.
But there's 3 that I definitely want to use, even though again they're not that great, but I'll take it.
All right. Well, I'll start then because I think I probably have more. My first one is called Uncelebration by NoChick_Fix on Archive of Our Own, which he seems to write exclusively gay stuff. So that's a situation of name, good reflection of content. I enjoy that. So the timeline here is an AU, and it says Ed is 18. So that seems to be the entire defining characteristic of this AU, except the television also exists. I don't remember television being a thing.
I don't either, but they weren't like ever really just like hanging out lounging in the living room.
Right.
So.
Well, in this they totally are. So maybe that's another factor of this alternate universe is that Netflix and chill has been devised, I suppose. But in the canonical stuff for most of the series, Ed is probably like mid 15ish, I imagine.
I imagine so, yeah.
Like at the very beginning he's like very young, he's like 9 or something, but like for the majority of it, he's like somewhere between like 13 and 15, I'd say probably. But in this he's 18 just because this guy doesn't want you to think that he's a creepo.
Yeah.
So the summary written by the author is Ed doesn't want to celebrate Valentine's Day, except that he does. And he also notes that this was originally a LiveJournal post.
Yeah. The fact that LiveJournal still is a thing that people use is amazing to me, but apparently it's really big in like fandom communities.
Yeah,
they have all sorts of like, stuff like that. I lost my words. Chris is gonna love editing this bit. But like, they'll have like, okay, you like Fullmetal Alchemist fanfiction, cool, but they'll have like separate communities for like, you like Fullmetal Alchemist fanfiction with butt plugs or something, like, and they'll just have like all these people who like the same thing, like writing little tidbits, and it's weird, but cool, I guess.
Or butt bits. So this is this is an Ed Roy pairing, which other than Elric-cest, they being the brothers Elric, I figured that this would be the pairing that I would see the most, and boy, was I not wrong, because I'm going to say 90% of stories are either Elric on Elric or Ed on Roy. Like,
yes.
it's
agree with you, and I was really disappointed.
Yeah, man. It's...
Because, like, I mean, not only is there just this, like, one overwhelming pairing, which, I mean, fine, whatever, or two overwhelming pairings, but I still saw the Ed Roy more often
me
than
too.
not.
Yes.
But, like, not only that, but it was also just, like, the most basic, like, boring sex you could ever devise.
Vanilla.
Yeah.
But, like, two dudes that literally can conjure basically anything out of anything. Like, Roy's thing is that he makes fire.
Yeah.
Which, like, great. But he's also just, like, an alchemist. Like, he can just make, like... It's like, oh, you need a fork or whatever? Like, he can just turn some shit into a fork if he wanted to. Or a butt plug. Or whatever.
Yeah.
But instead, they just have some sex.
And they just also happen to be alchemists, like, totally, completely unrelated to anything.
So, Roy Mustang is to Edward Elric a commanding officer, a mentor, and a father figure, which of course means that everyone wants to see them fuck for some reason.
Yep.
So, in this AU, Roy Mustang is living with the Elric brothers, I guess, and he and Ed are a couple, and Ed comes home on Valentine's Day, and he's disappointed because Roy is just sitting around with his feet up watching television. Even though Ed very emphatically told him that Valentine's Day was bullshit and that they would not be celebrating it because, quote, he of all people... Oh, but he was upset then because he of all people should have known that when Ed said no, he really meant yes. How hard was that to figure out? Which, that's... I mean, it's been a couple of years since I watched these. That does not strike me as very Edward Elric-like at all. He's a pretty straightforward, brash...
Yeah,
young
extremely.
Man.
Brash is definitely a word I would use.
He wouldn't pull that kind of namby-pamby bullshit, I don't think.
That is, again, the thing I've talked about in previous episodes where, like, just because it's two dudes together, like, one of them has to be, like, obviously feminine, even though it wasn't that way in the show at all, and even though I don't think that that's necessarily how gay relationships work.
Right.
So, it's okay, now he has to be all fluttery-eyed, like that one with Sephiroth that I took issue with, you know. Mm-hmm. But anyway, go on.
No, that's fine. One thing that we'll get to the sex in a moment, but one thing that jumped out to me at first was the couple fell silent while on the television. Bobby Flay was doing something amazing with plain old ordinary chicken. I love the idea that actual our world, like that's what this AU is.
Yeah.
It's the Fullmetal Alchemist universe. Only Ed is 3 years older. And also, Food Network personalities from our universe are there.
Just
and have TV shows, yeah. That's man, who's optioning that movie? So Ed's like, oh, I guess I'll go take a shower then. And he then finds that the bedroom has been done up all romantic comedy style with candles and rose petals and all that kind of stuff. And Roy comes in and teases him and tells him to take a shower, but not bother to put anything back on after the shower. And Ed exits the shower and finds Roy stretched out fully nude upon the petal-festooned bed. So where's my present? Ed asked, trying his damnedest to sound nonchalant. You're looking at it. A question and an answer passed between them, unspoken. Ed swallowed hard, anticipation evident in his eyes. You're staring at me.
I was like, what question? I think I understand where this is going.
Anticipation evident in his eyes, as well as places further south. Rare were the times when they switched things up. Not for lack of want, but because Ed, quite frankly, loved having Roy inside of him. So there you go, even in the,
Yeah.
Because if you were to ask me, honestly, I didn't even think about this while I was reading it, but now that I think about it, if you had asked me who I thought would be top bottom in this situation, I would have it the other way around, I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
I never thought about it either, really.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. I mean, they're both,
Because Roy is, like the older, more, stately, not statelier, but he's like the more, I keep wanting to say respected, but that's not the word that I actually mean. Whatever. But yeah, I would picture it the other way. But, yeah. Not for lack of want, but because Ed, quite frankly, loved having Roy inside of him. But this was... Fuck, he whispered. That's the plan, Roy said. And because he was still Roy, he cheekily added, if you're up for it. Cheeky, really.
No.
Ed grinned at the challenge. Even now, the man lived to taunt him. He let down his hair, which he hadn't bothered to wash, since it was just about the only place on his body that Al's pesky felines hadn't claimed as their own during his visit. Oh, so I guess maybe Al doesn't live with them. He was over visiting Al.
I'm offended.
Cats.
I mean, do you guys have to go home and take a shower when you...
Well, no, our place is also infested with cats.
That's true.
So.
Did the cats pee on him? Like, what? I'm not sure.
Hadn't claimed as their own yet? It does kind of sound like that's what he's inferring.
My cats only ever pee on me. And only that one time, yeah. Well, my stuff is, that's... anyway.
Ed walked over to the bed and crawled in, marveling at the feel of all that sumptuous silk against his skin. Wow, try saying that 14 times fast. He curled up close to Roy and leaned in for a long, slow, tongue-plundering kiss that tasted like whiskey and the faintest hint of mint. He then... He was drinking mint juleps before he got there.
Right. I was picturing it toothpaste. That's why I gagged. I like a mint julep, don't get me wrong. But I don't know.
Yeah, brushing your teeth and then going straight into the whiskey.
No.
He then pushed Roy onto his back and ran his left hand down the other man's smooth, pale body, over his chest and stomach and along well-toned thighs until finally curling around Roy's cock, which was already full and hard and leaking ever so slightly.
Always is.
Roy shuddered appreciatively and broke the kiss, choosing instead to favor Ed with a look that was positively obscene, his hips raising up off the sheets to match each pump of Ed's wrist. "I've been thinking about this all day," he murmured. Ed was stunned and unbelievably turned on by Roy's confession. When he came home and found him on the couch, the last thing he would ever suspected was that Roy was aching to be fucked. He let go of Roy and climbed on top of him, groaning as legs parted eagerly, granting him access. They resumed kissing and began sliding against each other in a slow and fluid motion until they were both coated in wetness. So that, I was a little... Like, they're just rubbing on each other until they're both wet? With what, exactly?
I believe the pre.
The pre? Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of pre.
Yeah, well, it's a fanfiction.
That's true. That's fair. And Ed stopped just long enough to ransack the nightstand drawer for lubricant. So here, again, I think, like, is a perfect... Like, they're both alchemists. Just, like... You could literally clap and make it. You don't have to go through the nightstand for it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He fingered Roy open with as much patience as he could muster. Ed knew that he needed to take his time, as Roy wasn't on the receiving end very often, but fuck if it didn't feel like it was taking forever. He proceeded gingerly until he was 3 fingers deep, watching the man's face for any sign of discomfort as digits scissored and twisted and curled.
That's nice. You know, I always like to see preparation. That's good.
But Roy soon proved that Ed wasn't the only one in a hurry, as he grabbed onto Ed's arm and pulled it completely into his... grabbed onto Ed's arm and yanked him forward.
Man, I got excited there for a second.
That he was more than ready.
Just like picturing him elbow deep. Like, how did this happen?
They're alchemists. It doesn't mention whether he's using his mechanical arm or his non-mechanical arm, by the way.
No.
Ed pushed inside of him, his teeth clenching as he sank into blissful tightness. He paused when he was finally all the way in. So I guess he switched to his penis at some point, but it doesn't say that?
What do you mean?
Like, he was just fingering him.
Yeah.
And then it just said, indicating that he was more than ready.
Yeah.
And then it just says, Ed pushed inside of him.
Like, he switched there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He paused when he was finally all the way in, eyes closed, and mind reeling over the sensation. Roy wrapped his legs around him and bore down, and Ed yielded to his instinct and began to thrust, desperately and repeatedly. He kept his eyes shut.
Really how it goes.
He kept his eyes... Yeah, that's a good description of sex. Barely resisting the urge to open them. If he looked at Roy now, he was going to lose it. Unfortunately, that didn't block out the sound of the man's wanton moans and mewls. And that in itself was almost Ed's undoing. Roy wasn't usually one to make a lot of noise when he was being fucked. I would agree that's how I would picture it anyway. Yeah. But this time he was letting it all out, letting Ed know exactly what he was doing to him. Harder, he demanded, his dick rubbing eagerly between them and his voice barely audible amidst the sound of flesh slapping against flesh. Ed had no idea how much harder he could take Roy without possible permanent injury.
Oh, God.
But if that was what he wanted, then so be it. He gripped Roy about the shoulders and used the leverage to pound mercilessly into his body. Then Ed did open his eyes, and he saw Roy looking up at him, face contorted in the pleasure of being ravaged. He felt his balls clench, despite his efforts to stave off the inevitable. But Roy beat him to the punch by coming first and coming hard, arcing high off the bed and tightening painfully around Ed as his cock pulsed and spurted hot streams. Ed cried out and followed suit, the intensity of his release reducing him to a quivering heap of metal and skin on top of Roy's heaving chest. Moments later, he carefully pulled out, earning a hiss from both of them. What kind of hiss?
Like
steam escaping?
No.
Like...
No, like, they're both real sensitive. So now he's just like...
I guess I wouldn't have thought of that as a hiss. But I guess
like that,
Okay, alright. Alright, see, I would
it's
think
more
of that
like
as
a pulling of
teeth.
Yeah. I wouldn't... I mean, I've seen it described as a hiss, but...
Roy gathered him into his arms and held him near, and Ed buried his face in Roy's neck, breathing in the scent of sex and cologne and whiskey and roses. That's my new scent, by the way. Eventually, Roy eased Ed onto the bed, and he turned onto his side so they were face to face. Ed sighed contentedly as fingers caressed him all over before finally intertwining with his. Thank you, he said, using his free hand to pick a petal off Roy's cheek. Not just for this, but all of it. Roy's thumb traced a lazy circle against Ed's wrist. You would have held it against me forever if I hadn't done something. No, I wouldn't, Ed insisted, and it was the truth. A week or two, maybe, but not forever. I suppose we'll be doing this every year? Ed considered the question. I don't know, he concluded doubtfully. Valentine's Day really is such a stupid holiday. Roy blinked at Ed. He then smiled warmly and shook his head. I'll take that as a yes, he said, kissing the young man on the forehead. Ed grinned as arms wrapped around him and pulled him close. Yeah, that's probably for the best. So, I mean, that was pretty well written. It wasn't my thing,
right?
Particularly because I'm not into, dudes doing dudes or whatever. But there was no alchemy whatsoever.
Nope.
Like I said, you could alchemy up the lube. You could alchemy your metal arm into a big old dildo or like a cock restraint cage. Yeah.
Anything,
literally anything, and they do nothing. Yeah. Ed's superpower is that he doesn't even have to draw a circle before he does it. Like, it would take literally no preparation. Right. He just it's done. And he doesn't take the time to do it. I don't know. It's inoffensive, but just so
yawn.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Like, when I was doing the research for this one, I was reading stuff and it wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was just kind of
It was just
okay. Yeah, they're having sex. Yawn.
Right. And 90% of the time, it was the same guy having sex.
Yeah.
He's either fucking his brother or he's fucking Mustang.
Correct.
That's it.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. It's weird.
We're only one story in, and I am already issuing you, Fullmetal Alchemist, sexy fanfiction community, my sternest reprimand yet. You are the most uncreative group of fanfickers that I have yet stumbled upon. Come on. This is a world built for this shit. Built for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
This is not Fullmetal Alchemist, a XXX parody that they made 3 months ago. Probably had more inventive uses of stuff than you guys have been able to come up with in 12 years of this shit. Anyway, you've probably got a story.
Yeah, I got a couple. Let's see here. I think the first one I'm going to go with is called Bathroom Conversations.
My favorite kind.
By Alja. And this is on fanfiction.net. I think... Well, I'm probably going to end up reading most of this, but I'm going to jump around a little bit because it's not super long, but I, get bored. The description is what drew me in on this one, and it goes as follows. A certain conversation held with Alex Armstrong taught Roy to flee the latrine whenever the Major was around if he didn't wish to talk about his reproductive organs. Mm-hmm.
I think I know what they're trying to say, but I think they chose the wrong order of the words with which to say it. But maybe I'm wrong. I'll wait until you read it to decide.
So here we go. I shall read this story. Roy knew he shouldn't have chosen a bottle of apple juice to accompany his lunch. Without this beverage, he would have never had this embarrassing meeting with Major Armstrong. But he did. Roy loved orange juice too much, and it resulted in the usual. It made him thirsty, and thirst made him down a whole bottle of water in only 10 minutes, and that made his bladder uncomfortably full.
Didn't they say apple juice first, or did I just miss?
Yeah, no, the apple juice made him really thirsty.
But
apparently.
then you said orange juice.
Did I? Did I say orange juice?
The second time.
It says apple juice.
Okay.
I must just be thinking.
All right. So at first I thought it was because the orange juice looks like pee.
No.
But that wasn't it. And then I thought it was because the apple juice makes him pee. But then I'm like, that doesn't make you pee more than anything else does.
I was confused about the apple juice.
But apparently
thing.
it makes him thirsty, so he then had to chug a bunch of water.
Yes.
So that's why.
Yes. Okay. So he excuses himself to go to the bathroom, and he's happy to find that the bathroom's empty. So he goes to the middle urinal and, is pleased.
What a dick move. Just because no one's there now doesn't mean that someone's not going to be there in 20 seconds.
Well, funny you should say that. Excellent from, Colonel. I'm not sure it's supposed to be form, but it isn't. The booming of a deep voice behind him made Roy jerk his penis up in surprise. Splashing his surroundings unwillingly before he turned his head back as far as he could to look behind. Alex Armstrong towered over the door of the stall behind him. Parentheses. Who even designed bathrooms this way? Roy wondered. Parentheses. Sparkles hovering around his head. Thanks, Major, I guess, Roy muttered quietly as he turned back around, but loud enough for Armstrong to hear. The alchemist nodded in affirmation and stepped out of his stall to go and wash his hands. Sighing in relief, Roy stared back down at the urinal. Maybe he should try hitting several spots in short succession. Perfect for reproduction, I might say.
Wait, what?
There's a...
Who's speaking?
Perfect for reproduction, I might say. That is Armstrong.
But Mustang was thinking perhaps he should hit several spots?
Yeah, he's talking about peeing. He's thinking about how he should continue peeing. I don't know. The hand motion you just made was what I thought too. Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, that's the only way you can do it. Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have to cork it off.
Yeah, but anyway, so perfect for reproduction, I might say. With horror on his face, Roy turned right to look up at Armstrong, who had suddenly materialized right next to him. But the Major didn't seem fazed at all. Instead, his eyes were fixated on Roy's penis. What a formidable girth! Armstrong put his hand on his chin in a pensive gesture, his other hand grasping his elbow as he scrutinized the properties of Roy's appendage. Roy felt the color drain from his face, and he hurried to finish and zip up to escape Armstrong's chorus of praise. Respectable length, too, even in flaccid state. Roy froze mid-track before he approached the sink, suppressing the urge to shake his head. At this point of the conversation, he shortly considered skipping on washing his hands if it wasn't just so unsanitary. Has that excellent length been passed down in the Mustang family for generations? He cringed as he dried his hands on the towel and kicked the door open. You know, Major, I didn't really get to compare it to the rest of my family, and I really gotta go. My cousins and I had quite a few competitions in our youth on the matter, the Major continued relentlessly, and even though Roy leaped out of the bathroom, he followed much to Roy's terror. As you know, I'm the only male heir in my family, so I didn't get to compare my manliness to my siblings. Although my dear sister, only a fraction of a second was keeping Roy from running, he was walking so fast. He didn't really want to hear that. He didn't want to know about Armstrong's reproductive organ or, dear goodness, any imitations of a penis Major General Armstrong might have whipped out to emphasize her dominance over her male family members. Caught us during one of our competitions. Rest assured that her sword was definitely the longest and most intimidating asset that day. I still don't understand what they're talking about.
Gigantoclit, I imagine.
Really?
I mean, I don't know what else it could mean. Unless she's got one of those fake ones that they use in those, those porno shoots where they have all the fake jizz.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't tell.
So he's trying to escape this conversation, and he's like, I gotta get back to work, and Armstrong's like, okay, well, let me just come and say hi to the people that you work with, and he was like, oh, good God, why are you doing this to me? So they go back to his office, and they come in the door, and his eyes met the most lascivious behind he had ever seen, and that was incredible by itself as it was clad in a military uniform. The person the behind belonged to was currently bent over the desks that were pushed together in the middle of the room, with one foot on tiptoes on the ground and one foot held up to balance their stance. Their rear wiggled around in the air, and heat pooled down in Roy's groin far too quickly for his liking. That was when he recognized the tuft of blonde hair that was clasped back tightly on the back of the person's head. This is all very clunky. As if on cue, the head moved and looked back to recognize Roy and Armstrong. "Colonel, Major!" Riza gasped a little as she slid down the desks again, straightening her uniform. The heat got accompanied by a very familiar tightness in Roy's pants. So they walk in the room, and she's like bent over some desks. I guess she's trying to get a pencil, and
I bet she is.
Yeah. Well. So she notices then that Armstrong is just staring at her. Major? Lieutenant, would you turn around for me, please? Excuse me, sir? Please, just for a second, Armstrong emphasized, and his big hands grabbed Riza's shoulders, surprisingly soft, as he turned her body around 180 degrees. He stepped back and examined her back, tracing her curves in the air with an approving huff. Major? Wonderful, wonderful indeed. Lieutenant Hawkeye has the perfect pelvis to accommodate your manhood, Colonel. With a start, Riza turned around again, pressing herself against the desk in horror, as Roy's jaw dropped. Look at her exquisite physique. Those are some excellent childbearing hips. Ah, those are going to be beautiful children. Definitely beautiful, strong, healthy, talented children. My OTP is perfect. Armstrong sobbed one last time before he turned on his heels and stormed out of the office. And he locks them in the room.
6 months ago, I wouldn't have known what that meant.
He locks them in the room, and that is the end of the story.
I loved that.
I figured you would.
That was pretty great. A couple things. You kept calling her Riza. I don't remember how she actually pronounces her name, but I don't think it's Riza.
I have no
all
idea.
I could think about was the Riza from Wu-Tang Clan.
I don't
every
know
time
that
you
either.
said that. Which added another layer to the whole thing. That was
But yeah, I thought you might enjoy that one.
that was pretty good. I like that.
The OTP bit I was thrown off by because I mean the rest of the story, while not great, wasn't quite that like fourth wall breaky.
Right. But I could
Yeah.
I could kind of see. I mean, obviously it's taken to
An extreme.
a porny extreme.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of
Yes.
oblivious brusqueness
Yeah.
that exemplifies Major Armstrong
Right.
in the show. So it really wasn't. That was. It had me. It had me the whole way. I enjoyed that.
I'm glad.
That was good. And I really liked the he jerked his penis in surprise or whatever that that line was. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah. So I picked this one because it was funny and a little different from all the rest of the stuff I'd seen.
And speaking of his OTP, the Hawkeye Roy was something that I thought I would see a whole lot more of. Like, if I didn't know that these fandoms tend to very much favor boy-on-boy pairings, like that would have been, like what I would have thought most of the pairings would have ended up being. Either
Right.
that or, like Ed and
What's her
Winry.
face? Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm surprised. And there was a little bit of it, but
Yeah, a
not
little
much. It was
bit.
almost entirely those two things that we said before. Speaking of those two things we said before, I've got my second one is also an Ed and Roy pairing, but it's a little bit different. This one is called Chimera Program by Black Wolf 2 Dragoon on Archive of Our Own. And I went for this one because I figured this at least had to have some alchemical stuff in it, right?
I mean, with Chimera right in the title.
Right,
of it.
chimeras are, in the show anyway, are fusions of human and animal that are made using alchemy. They are considered taboo. You're not allowed to do them. You're not supposed to do any human transmutation in alchemy. It's the reason that the boys got all fucked up in the first place, because they were messing with forces beyond their control when they tried to bring their mom back. And so chimeras are a very bad thing that only the bad guys do. But in this one, Mustang has been turned into a wolf-like chimera. But upon
What a surprise.
Why?
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were being sincere
No.
for a second. How silly of me.
Yeah. Never that.
Mustang has been turned into a wolf-like chimera, but upon examining him and putting him under an X-ray to find out how all of his human organs got shifted into his creepy wolf-like chimera body and how much pain he's in, that somehow lets them figure out that he has functioning genitals. Crazy
Internal?
future, not future, crazy alternate universe X-ray machine, I suppose, that can tell you whether your junk works or not. But this sends them all into a tizzy because they've never had a chimera that can reproduce before. And the idea of breeding an entire population of alchemy-using homunculi, chimera things, gets everybody super excited. But first they have to make sure that it's feasible, and the only way to make sure that that's possible is by taking a sperm count. The chimera turned back towards its alpha, its creator, curious as to what he was doing. He seemed to be whispering words, although he wasn't sure what he was saying, but his mood was obvious, calm. It kept himself calm. I don't think that's the right way to say that. Like his creator wanted. He almost didn't notice Tucker pumping his member like a cow's udder until it was already close to releasing. Confused, first of all, I've seen videos of people milking cows. That's not
the same
what I
motion at
want
all,
done
no.
to not even in the same universe. Anyway, confused, the chimera gave a high-pitched whine, biting Tucker's arm only slightly enough to leave marks, but not bleed, as he released into the plastic cup. Tucker winced, but it was merely a warning bite. Don't do that again. Hopefully he wouldn't need to. It was enough semen for him to do more research into possible chimera breeding. So they take this, they test it. He's got a good sperm count, I guess, for a chimera, whatever that means.
I gotta say, I think this is the first fanfiction I've ever read in which sperm count was considered. That's interesting.
But in order to make him a suitable chimera mate, they decide that they're going to put a human man and transmute it into a female animal and therefore make a hermaphrodite chimera.
Sure.
How that makes a more attractive mate, I'm not exactly sure.
I didn't write
They
this
don't
word.
really explain what that means or how it would make it more suitable, but they'll be goddamned if they're not going to do it. So, and then jump cut 2 years later.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, the Mustang Chimera now can speak and can do some alchemy and stuff and is very obedient to the military, but everyone they try to pair him with, he rejects them utterly. He is completely disinterested in them or outright attacks them, and they're getting really frustrated with the fact that he won't mate with any of these chimeras that they have for them. At the same time, a guy comes running in with a report that they found the Elric brothers. And the general of the bad guy army says, bring him to me. And so they take Ed, they kidnap him, and they turn him into a Wolverine chimera. A hermaphrodite Wolverine chimera.
Of course. Why wouldn't they? And
it just so happens that the Roy Mustang Wolf Chimera sees the Ed Elric Wolverine Chimera, and and he instantly is attracted to it and stuff. And so the creator guy is like, oh, we gotta try to get this shit together or whatever. But first they had to check out the Ed Wolverine Chimera to make sure that it would be also able to breed. There's a whole lot of chimera sexual reproduction testing going on in this story.
That's an interesting thing to include.
He put on different gloves and began to check. It was uncomfortable for Edward, feeling the man's finger probe his behind, but if what Raven said was true, Raven, who is what they renamed the Mustang Chimera to, don't know why.
So it's a wolf chimera named Raven?
Named Raven.
You can't make this stuff up.
Apparently you can. But he said that the doctor was a nice guy, and if you just let him do what he wants to do, then he'll let you eat food and sleep. Which, yeah. That seems healthy. But I mean, I guess these are chimeras. They're not people.
But they really are, though.
Yeah, oh god, that thing I just said made me feel so gross.
Yeah.
I'm being very cis with that statement, I guess. Is it still cis when I'm talking about chimeras versus people?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Come on, Tumblr girl.
This has never come up.
Well, ask Tumblr. It wasn't painful, but he definitely wasn't comfortable with this becoming a common occurrence. He became increasingly uncomfortable when the fingers started searching, feeling around inside as if looking for something, or making sure of something. When Tucker was finally satisfied that Edward did indeed have ovaries, so he's like,
wow,
really? I know, right?
Whoa.
That's a deep plunge.
That's not how that works. I mean, it might be different for a hermaphrodite chimera, but yeah. That's really not how that works.
He pulled his finger from the uncomfortable chimera, who almost sighed in relief.
This could be like an arm.
So Edward, so far, was capable of holding a child, so his search told him. That was good news, and if Raven grew attached to the young chimera...
Also, ovaries are not where you hold the child, either.
Well, maybe. Do you know that for Wolverines?
I'm pretty sure.
But do you know? Yesterday, 2-3 days ago, you tried to tell me that a cucumber was not a fruit.
Actually, if you'll recall, I didn't say anything in that conversation because I was pretty sure you were right, but I didn't want to commit to it, so I just stayed out.
Okay, whatever.
Wolverine.
You're going to get a whole lot of Hugh Jackman pictures.
Go on.
But it continues, getting even weirder. The strangest thing... Edward was of age to breed already.
Oh.
Whilst the old Edward Elric was only 9 years old, this new Edward Elric was now at least 15 in human years.
So old.
Which makes it totally not creepy anymore. The jump in age must have been because the Wolverine was quite old for one. She'd have been in at least her second cycle of being able to breed, whilst Edward was a child, but in human terms, only a year or two ready to be able to breed. That sentence is completely incomprehensible.
Like, what are you even saying?
But it dives straight into, he was quite wet, which gave Tucker the impression that he was in breeding season either soon or right now. This was exactly what he had hoped for, but it was getting Raven to like Edward enough that was the trouble, and for Edward to consent. But you don't seem to care about consent in terms of turning people into chimeras in the first place. I don't know why you would care about it for this.
Seriously.
But with him in breeding season, it wouldn't be too hard. Wolverines is sluts.
Also, they have uteruses, so yeah, that's not how that works. But anyway, go ahead.
It's not you, it's uterus. Yeah, so my notes here are, 15 instead of 9, that's not as gross, right?
Right.
That was my only note. So, after all this probing, Ed wakes up, and he's like hell of horny, because Wolverine females, like I just said, are sluts, apparently. But his friend Raven, who is Mustang, who is a chimera wolf, isn't around when he wakes up in the human bed. They can also change back into humanish form, like at will, kind of, but he's still a hedgehog right now.
A hedgehog? I think.
I'm sorry, Wolverine, sorry.
It's like, that is a weird pairing. Like, the Wolverine is weird enough, but a hedgehog is a bit of a size.
I'm having flashbacks to Sonic, sorry. But so, since Mustang isn't around, he just starts rubbing his leaking genitals all over the bed, the bedding and the sheets and the post and the floor and stuff to like get his scent all over it, so that when Mustang comes back, he'll know that he's totally ready for it and stuff.
Ugh. Gross.
And this part human, part wolf, part chimera, part human, part Wolverine abomination can finally get it on, just like God intended. So eventually, the Mustang chimera comes back, and as expected, totally like, and the Ed Wolverine is like hiding under the covers, all coily or whatever, and like, and Mustang walks into the room and like instantly like perks up at the smell, and then starts looking around, and then like Ed like peeks around from underneath the covers and like raises his eyebrows seductively or whatever, and then the Mustang chimera like just bounds over to the bed and like gets on him and stuff. But he's being recalcitrant. Or reluctant? I'm not sure if recalcitrant's the right word to use there. I'm at that level of whiskey where it's hard to tell when seldom used words are being used correctly by my mouth or not. What wait for? Ed demanded. It can speak English, but not very well.
Oh, God. What do?
What do?
How's sex?
How is baby form? What wait for? Ed demanded, growling slightly. He didn't even care that his voice still sounded comically low compared to his size. His irritant feelings were clear enough. Raven huffed almost.
Irritant.
Yeah. That's what it says.
Okay.
Raven huffed almost before he pushed further into Edward as requested. I request that you push further into me. Ed growled again, and this time it almost broke off as a groan. Don't use it almost broke off in the middle of a...
I cringed. I was like, what did?
That's never a good phrase to use. Breaking his hymens... While you're on Google, can you check to see if if fucking Sonic,
yes.
Literally, if Wolverines have multiple hymens, please. Breaking his hymens had been slightly painful, but nothing he couldn't handle. He growled again in annoyance when Raven halted, probably being a worrywart. That was the problem with wolf mating. They always did become worrywarts about everything when it came to their mate. Is that a true fact? Because I don't think so.
I don't even know how to Google that. Are wolves worrywarts?
Are wolves very careful lovers? What did you find about Wolverine vaginas? Hymens.
The problem is that it's all... If there
About
was
Hugh
a
Jackman?
female Wolverine, will her hymen heal? Which is not what we're looking for at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And yes, it almost certainly would, I would say. No reason that it wouldn't. Mutant healing factor.
But yeah,
didn't we address that in the X-Men episode, actually?
I think we might have.
I think that we did. You would be a virgin every time.
That sucks.
Or doesn't suck, depending. Maybe you're being, married off to an oil sheet or something.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Or maybe you're just really into that. Some people are into deflowering.
Well, I mean, it would...
Wow, your baby is not.
No! Good! Oh, God.
You know, it's what they rebel against the most when they're children, that they get into the most as teenagers.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You should have seen me when I was a baby. I was nothing but studying and fashion magazines. Anyway. That was the problem with wolf mating. They always did become worrywarts about everything when it came to their mate. Ed pushed back, telling him to get a move on, and so he did. It lasted less than 3 minutes. Animal mating was always quick and to the point.
Man.
But being part human had delayed them a bit. Raven made sure to stay inside Ed until he was sure that his sperm had done its duty.
Mm.
He let go of Ed, but curled up beside him, his head laying on Edward's chest. So, this is another example that we outlined in a couple other episodes with build up, time to have sex.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
No sex. It lasted 3 minutes, is literally all they said about it.
I just don't understand. And especially if it had all this, technical,
I know, right? They're going into such detail about figuring out the replicatory acceptability of these things.
Right.
And then when it actually gets to boning time, they're just like, yep, that happened.
They totally did it.
Happened real fast. And less than the time it takes to microwave a burrito. Yeah. So this story goes on for a million more chapters, but I really couldn't bring myself to read much more.
I can't say I blame you.
It mostly seemed to focus on people trying to... Because I trimmed this down a lot.
I enjoyed your summary. I thought it was good.
But it mainly seemed to focus on people trying to make them do alchemy, and Ed worrying that his babies wouldn't be able to feed because he didn't have boobs. And he kept asking
he has boobs. They're just not large.
But he thought that he didn't or something. Maybe there was something about the homunculus process where
I don't know about Wolverine.
You know what I mean?
I don't know anything about that. A Wolverine boobs. My search engine is never. My search history is never going to be the same.
But yeah, so I really thought that this was going to be super interesting, and I was a little let down. All of the fertility doctor stuff was kind of interesting. The fact that breaking news live: Wolverine's boobs are bigger than yours. No, nope. I got you beat, Hugh Jackman.
Me too.
But yeah, despite that, it got boring pretty quickly. And again, it just glossed over the
I don't get that.
The sex.
I mean, maybe this person really is just trying to get their work out there.
This is like their Fullmetal Alchemist spec script. They're trying to get hired as a writer for the third manga series.
They really have really strong feelings about the story that they're telling. The sex isn't important.
Right. But I don't know. And despite the fact that they made a whole lot of... They really emphasized the fact that these chimeras would still be able to do the alchemy that they could do when they were people. And yet, again, none of it came into play in any of the sex, even in the chapters that I just skimmed looking for.
I mean, it sounds like even that there was more description of them getting a sperm sample than there was of the actual sex.
Oh, absolutely.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, maybe this guy's just really into sperm samples. And gyno exams. Gyno? That's not the way you say that at all.
No, it's not.
Although it should be.
Why?
Because vagina.
It's not
gyno.
what that is referencing. I can't
Really?
tell if you're joking or not.
Thank you. So you've got how many more?
I have 2, possibly 3 more.
All right, I'm gonna do another one real quick, Ben,
Okay.
because this one's pretty quick. Huge spoilers here. If you're somehow listening to this podcast and are unfamiliar with Fullmetal Alchemist, fast forward like 30 seconds. So the whole goal of the series, ostensibly, is that Ed is trying to become an alchemist so that he can get his brother Alphonse's body back. Now, most of the stories that involve Alphonse are post-body getting back, which is annoying because I was hoping for some really interesting... When Al does not have his body, he is a giant sentient suit of armor into which Ed has transferred his soul.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping for some interesting sex stuff going on with that. There's very little of it. I got a little bit later, but we'll get to that then. But so most of it, Al is back in his body, and in this one, he's back in his body, but he was like 6 or 7 or something when this originally happened, and now this is like many, many years later when he finally gets his body back. So now he's like a teenager, so he's discovering all these things about himself.
Okay, so he's not a 5 or 6 year old.
No, not when he comes back.
I thought this was gonna go he's like a teen's brain in a child's
and like
body
an 8-year-old and like a 6-year-old. No,
I'm glad that's not the case.
But he's now like a teenager, or at least a high-end preteen. The kind that you would get at the Sharper Image.
Right.
The Sky Mall catalog. But he wakes up one morning and he goes to the bathroom, and then as he's taking a leak, he realizes like his dick is heavier than it should be. Which that's never. I don't care how young I was.
Quit putting weights in
never
there.
The way that He's trying to regrow his foreskin. When Ed regrew his entire body, he forgot to regrow his foreskin. And since he's a very progressive guy, he believes that all men should be natural and free as God created them, and so he's trying to regrow his sheep.
Man, I'm glad I had a girl.
Did you get her circumcised, by the way?
No!
I'm never going to get tired of saying that. I think I actually said that the day that you had her in the room when you were so full of drugs that you can't remember that I said that to you.
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
But I'm pretty
that
sure that I did.
I just remember you guys brought the bourbon, but I couldn't have any because drugs.
No, that was the day after.
Oh, was it?
This was the day of.
Oh.
When you were so high.
Yeah, well, I don't
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep. Anyway. So he's taking a leak, and his dick is too big, and so he's like, what's going on? And then he realizes that, like, touching his dick, like, feels pretty good, or whatever, I guess. So he just totally starts, like, jerking off in front of the mirror, like, over the sink.
Oh.
Because he's discovering his body.
Right, well, I mean, how tall is he? That he's over the sink.
I mean, his dick over the sink? You don't have to be that tall.
Don't you?
I don't think so.
I mean, like...
Hold on, we're getting up and walking over to the sink.
I think I have a problem.
Like, I can totally rest my nuts on
You're
this
like
thing.
800 feet tall.
Yeah, but a lot of that's in my torso. I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, that's true.
Also, I think bathroom sinks are usually lower than kitchen sinks, but maybe I'm imagining that.
I don't know.
I'm sorry for the horrible audio quality of us doing that.
We're doing an
Folks.
experiment
Yeah.
about whether or not Steve could masturbate into my sink.
I totally could, by the way.
He could, but I could not.
You just have to figure out some sort of apparatus.
I mean, I could stand on a
like those
stool
cones
or
that they make so that
something.
ladies can
Or
use
like
urinals.
maybe on my tiptoes.
But so he goes to town, and there's a lot of description of him touching himself and stuff. I'm not going to get into any of that, because the end of the story is really where it's at. As soon as he grabbed himself again, heat rocked through him, his hips pushing up and down, and his hand pulling down. He moaned in relief and pumped himself again and again as he felt his cock swell with its impending release. Then there was a knock at the bathroom door. Alphonse gasped, then whined, unable to stop his hand and hips from twitching almost spastically. Al, are you okay? Brother, damn you, brother. I'm fine, Al rasped, shocked to hear how hoarse and irritated his voice came out. Sorry, I'll do that again. I'm fine. I'm fine, I guess. There was a moment of silence, and the shifting of the doorknob alerted Al to the fact Ed could open the door any damn moment he pleased. You don't sound all right. Are you sure?
Work, yes.
Ed, not now. I'm sure. I'll be out in a minute. Al's hips rocked forward insistently. He moaned again. If you need help... Like hell. I'm fine. What's for breakfast? Anything to let Ed know he was just peachy. Or would be if his dick would stop crying. Which it would if Ed would leave. Edward sounded relieved. I made eggs and biscuits. Did you want anything else? Oh my God. Al gritted his teeth, chancing a glance down at his hand, and gasped when he saw the angry swollen cock staring expectantly at him. It can be expectant now? It can stare? No, just some tea if you haven't made it already. Oh, the doorknob shifted again as Ed removed his hand from it. Yeah, I'll do that. The rest is almost ready. Edward's heavy footsteps announced his leaving. "Okay," Al squeaked out, his back arching when his hand finally moved. He whimpered and moved with his hand, pulling once, twice, 3 times, and an unintentional hard press at the tip set sparks through him. His vision blurred as his muscles tensed, and the heated pressure washing over him finally, Alphonse could let himself be boneless.
That's clever.
A few minutes after letting himself float in a warm daze, Al was aware of the smell of eggs wafting up from the kitchen. I didn't think that was the smell that it was going.
What?
Right, breakfast. He weakly pulled himself up, using the sink as a crutch and leaning against it while he got his bearings. A glance in the mirror showed him the mess he was. His blonde hair was more tousled than usual. His face was still flushed, and damn it, he got cum on the counter.
Well, there you go.
See? Alphonse stared at himself and laughed. At least everything was in working order. So I just, I thought that was
that's
a wonderful little slice of life, I suppose.
That's a topic that is a lot of interest to me. Like, I think I've asked you guys about it before. Like, how did you first decide that was a thing that you would do?
Mostly, a lot like in this story, actually, I was just touching my dick.
Why?
Because that's just a thing that dudes do.
I'm so glad I had a girl.
All of the time. And then discovered that it felt pretty good. And so, then you just take that to its logical extreme.
Sure.
Yeah. Although nowadays, I'm sure that kids just find out via Sesame Street or whatever. Like, I'm sure it's everywhere. Like, kids are using Wikipedia at 4. They can figure this shit out immediately. Not like us, where, at the age of 8, I still thought that you put condoms inside of your dick.
What? Oh, God.
I haven't told you this? I swear I told you this, yeah.
Maybe, and I just don't remember, but that seems like something I'd remember.
Yeah, no, that's why we couldn't understand why anyone would ever use them, because that seemed real unpleasant.
I know, I was always confused about the term blowjob, because, like, that's clearly not what you were doing.
Well, no, see, I thought that might be what you were doing, but then I read that could be really bad.
Yeah.
Because you could get air bubbles into your bloodstream.
Well, I more so pictured it like you're just
and I don't think that's the way that actually works either. So I was double negative. Oh, so you just thought it was like a bubble wand, and you were just like.
Yeah,
okay.
Basically, yeah.
Like it was it's a corn cob that was too hot.
Yes, exactly, and I didn't want to bite it yet, so I was trying to cool it off a little. Yeah, that's what I kind of imagined.
Okay. No, see, I was picturing when you wanted
like
to make your milk foam up. Yeah, you're but that. Oh, children.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so yeah, that was just a real quick one that I had. What do you got? What do you got next?
My next one is also short. It's only 971 words, so I think I'm just going to read the whole thing. It's called Red, and it's by Brynylon, I don't know, Brynylon, I'm not sure. But it's on Archive of Our Own. The summary is blood and pain turn envy on, even if it's his own. And I picked this one because it is confusing.
Good reason as any. Good a reason as any. Envy is one of the homunculi who are bad guys who aren't human but have been alchemied into existence and are all named for the 7 deadly sins.
He's got like dreadlocks and a weird midriff shirt.
Mm-hmm. It's very androgynous-y.
Yeah.
There was, I would say that probably the 3rd most common, or I guess 4th most common character after Ed, Al, and Roy was probably Envy.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
the androgyny has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Even though you'd think it would be lust, but because people who write fanfiction are all deviants who are really into guy, it was envy instead of lust. But anyway.
Anyway. He woke up blinking muzzily, disoriented. Where?
Muzzily?
Yeah. Muzzily.
Wasn't that the guy who tried to teach you French?
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god! I forgot that existed. Holy crap! I think it is. Anyway, we'll do that.
I think that 97% of our listeners are younger than us, and they will have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're old as the hills. Blinking muzzily, disoriented. Where? Who? A sense of something being totally horribly wrong reared itself but faded quickly, fleeting and muted as a background hum, white noise. Easy to ignore as he snuggled into the sweet-smelling surface beneath him. This was sort of nice. Sunlight and a really wonderful smell. Sorry. That was all around him. I'm sorry. And he felt relaxed. There was a strange pulling sensation between his shoulder blades, as easy to ignore as the angry buzz. He blinked slowly, red and white and gold in his vision. His sense of smell touch.
Smell touch. You know, that seventh sense that we all have.
I don't think I want that. Not with the smells that are around my house lately.
Oh, see, I was thinking it would be the other way. You touch something and smell it.
Well,
but I guess it could be you smell something and feel it.
Yeah, anyway.
Either way is probably
no good. No
honest,
good.
Yeah.
These were the only ones worthwhile, useful. His vision was narrow, dark around the edges, blurred, and he kept hearing only a buzz. The smell made him feel good, and the feeling of cool, moist cloth under his fingers was delicious. He breathed the scent deeply. What happened? Now, I don't think I can even read these properly because it's like 5 words together.
Like, you mean there's no spaces?
Like, what
them?
happened? 1 word.
Oh,
Where?
okay.
How? Came here to kill, did kill. 1 word. They are dead. 1 word. What did they do?
You mean the art of it.
1 word. What? Can't think. 1 word. So weak. 1 word. Can't do anything. 1 word. Fuck. 1 word. Hell. Need to move. 1 word. Move. Go. 1 word. Not right. 1 word. Feel strange. 1 word. Hate this. 1 word. Move. Like, and it's italicized. So I'm assuming these are his thought processes. Where? He turned his head, the movement difficult. His muscles were unwilling, slack, and powerless. The golden sunlight painted the room. Bedroom, richly furnished in deep-colored wood and gilt accented in red. He was on the bed, the cover vibrant crimson. The wonderful, intoxicating smell seemed to emanate from it. He slid off the bed, slow, leaving most of the scent behind, which saddened him. Under his body, tiny lumps crunched and snarled, biting him, sharper than the dull sting in his back.
What?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
I pictured him laying on a bed of tiny skulls, but
That's pretty good.
Sharper than the dull sting in his back. Down here, on the hardwood floor, he saw the white edges of the sheet and grabbed it with all the strength he could muster. Petals, red and pink and white, drifted all around him, their perfume a different note in the cloud of sweetness. He tugged and jerked, panting with the effort, but he succeeded and held the prize in his arms. He was still for a while, just breathing, leaning forward to steady himself against the bed frame. A movement behind him caught his attention and he twisted his head. There was a huge mirror leaning against the far wall, reflecting the room slightly warped, cracked, and bespeckled. The canopy bed in the center, heavy frame with gauzy curtains, an amorph shape, red and dark, just behind him on the floor, a like one on the other side of the bed. Another aroma, sweet and slightly sickly, drifted from these forms towards him. So,
I gotta say, I've been trying really hard to listen to the words that you're saying, and they're all going in my ears, but I have no idea what is trying to be conveyed.
That is how I felt when I was reading it. I'm like, I know these are words, but what exactly are you trying to do here?
Sorry, I wasn't sure how loud that ice was going to
It's
be.
real
Edit
loud.
point. So yeah, this is
as far as I know,
very muddled.
That's why I picked this
So
one.
he's trapped somewhere?
He woke up, and he's on a bed, and he has a weird pulling sensation between his shoulders, and his muscles are slack. And so he just crawled off of the bed onto the floor and pulled the sheet off the bed onto himself for some reason.
Like a Phantom of the Opera cake.
Maybe. And he just noticed that there's a mirror on the wall, and there are 2 dark red shapes on the floor behind him. Like, I understand that the author is trying to make us feel the confusion that he felt upon awaking in these circumstances.
Well, mission the
but,
fuck
like,
accomplished.
I'm way too confused.
Yeah.
The lithe, pale form streaked with red he recognized as himself. The dark hair hanging heavy and limp, straggling his face and clinging to his chest and back. The red lines on his arms and legs, familiar and somehow comforting. On his back, he glimpsed a flash of silver, and that was strange. He frowned in confusion. He tried to reach for it, but he didn't have the strength to lift his arm up. He leant forward and pawed feebly to dislodge the hair from his back, blinking so he could get a better look. Something silver-colored stuck out from the red dot in the middle of his back, between his shoulder blades, and it pulled and pulsed and itched. A trickle of red fluid ran from it down his spine, increasing the scent 1,000-fold, and he moaned and arched his back. So, I guess he was stabbed in the spine. That's what I'm getting from that paragraph.
Shouldn't he just be able to shake that off, though? Don't they have mutant healing factor? Homunculus healing factor? Maybe I'm misremembering.
Thought so. So he's sitting on the floor now, and he doesn't remember what his name is. He did realize he was naked, save for the sheet pooling in his lap, and he willed his clothes. So yeah, they can, do stuff. Right. Yeah.
So nothing got stabbed in the spine. All he had to do was, whoop.
Nothing happened, only a sudden burning sensation in that point on his back. He clutched the sweet-smelling sheet. It stuck to his hands as he tried to wrap it around himself, and the twinges coming from his back were a definite warning. He gave up on that, letting it drop, deep red center around edges, stark white in contrast. So it's a sheet, but it's soaked with blood, except for around the edges. The scent was so good, he licked his fingers, covered in the sticky red. Petals were stuck to his arms, spackling the sweetness with their tang. Pleasurable shivers went through his limbs, the taste tingling in his mouth. He stretched, twitched, the sudden thrill felt throughout his body. I'm not understanding where these petals are coming from. I don't know why there's flower petals, but...
Well, obviously someone stabbed him in the bedroom that Roy had previously prepared for Ed.
Right! It all comes together now.
This is all one universe.
So,
where Food Network personalities are part of the Fullmetal Alchemist canon.
He became aware of hot liquid pooling on the floor beneath him. This was more alluring than the cloth. He pushed that aside with his strengthless hands to get to the nectar. He reached down between his legs, dragging his hands through the puddle and up across his body, caressing himself. I'm not sure where he's bleeding from.
Everywhere. Or nowhere.
It's pooling on the floor beneath him. He reached between his legs to drag his hands through the puddle. Let's see.
I'm play acting all of this as she's saying it, and I still don't understand
it. He encountered his cock hard now and pulsing against his stomach. So it's obviously that's not where he's bleeding from because that's still there.
I mean, it doesn't mean he's not bleeding from
I guess. He held his breath, moving his hands through the shallow puddle and along his dick, fisting it with slippery hands. His hips bucked.
That's not what fisting means.
I know, but they use it a lot like that. I think we've had this conversation before.
In this story or in general?
In general.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure fisting has come up before because you were like, that's not fisting.
Huh.
This sounds really familiar. I don't know. Some fan tell us, what episode was that? Anyway.
We need a wiki.
Yeah, we do, for our 11 episodes. His hips bucked involuntarily, causing the spot on his back to tense, and he hissed with pain and pleasure. He felt the trigger running down his spine increase, burning heat as he stroked and pulled his cock, making soft gasping noises. The sunlight caressed him, and it felt so good, so good. One hand still stroking his dick, he ran the other up to his nipple, teasing it before bringing the fingers to his mouth again. It was too much. The sensation overwhelmed him. All his senses contracted in a sun-hot heat, and he came with a yelp, hotness spewing from him. The scent increased 1,000-fold. He fell forward, exhausted in pleasure. The sunlight continued its way across the room as the day went on, playing on the scene. 3 bodies, scattered glass mixed with rose petals, and a sea of blood. And that's the end.
3 bodies, so I guess the people he killed were still in the room, so maybe it wasn't even his blood?
I mean, but he was in pain, and I mean, at least the stab from his spine. And it was pooling on the floor beneath him. Hot liquid. So it had to be fresh blood. It had to be coming out of him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Also, when he keeps talking about this scent in the room, I'm assuming that's the scent of blood. So when he came and the scent increased 1,000-fold, I'm a little confused by that, because is he coming blood?
I think it's just supposed to be a
like
heightening
as
of the
scent in general.
Yeah, I think it's just supposed to be a heightening of the senses in that moment of Le Petit Mort.
But yeah, so that's the end, and I just picked that one because I was so bewildered after reading it. Like, I had to read every paragraph like 5 times before I could try and piece together what in the name of God was happening.
That's some 10th grade creative writing class shit there, only also with jerking yourself off into a pile of blood. Which you probably wouldn't have gotten away with, unless you went to like an arts high school or something.
Right, you might, yeah.
Yeah, so that was something.
Yeah, it was different.
Yeah, it certainly was. So before we get to the next story, I have another happy surprise for everybody. Our Cucumber Council ad went so well last week that I'm incredibly pleased to announce that we have lined up another sponsor for the podcast. So tonight's episode is brought to you by Solipsism. Solipsism invites you to take a look at your hand. Go ahead, everybody. Look at it. It sure looks like it's real, doesn't it? Well, stupid, guess what? It's not. Because nothing exists except your own mind, dummy. You think that I'm real here talking to you now? Boy, are you ever wrong. You are, by definition, the dumbest person in existence, because you are the only thing that truly exists. Your friends, your family, your pets, and all of your stuff, not really there. Forget about your job. It's not real. Stop stressing. It's all in your head. Do whatever you want. There are no consequences, and nothing else actually exists. Solipsism, the best excuse there is. So my next story is one that I... longtime fans will remember from the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World episode. I read a very short story written by a guy whose name I can't recall, but who clearly thought he was the funniest dude in the universe. It was about a stupid pregnant lady who went into the jungle to become friends with raptors, but then they ate her and they ate her baby.
Yeah, I remember.
And she had a dumb name or something.
By that one.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe I prefaced it with, "Are you ready to be offended on a lot of different levels?" We've got something similar here, although not quite as... Well, I was going to say not quite as hateful, but maybe not so true. We're going to... but in the same vein, this is an unexpected occurrence by Jazzy Bread on fanfiction.net. I'm going to read it in its entirety.
Jazzy Bread?
Jazzy Bread.
Okay.
Edward was in room, doing alchemy stuff, when he heard a knock on the door. It was Al. Even though his brother did not possess his body anymore, Ed could tell he was in distress. "What's wrong?" asked Ed. Al hesitated, but eventually he said, "Something weird happened while I was sleeping. It was... well, I'll just show you." Ed was confused until he revealed the shocking truth. His brother had grown overnight a rocking cock. There was silence between the two brothers until Ed said, "Well, this just means I can finally do this." Ed then got on his knees and started to commit incest.
Amazing.
Al asked, "Oni-chan, what are you doing?" Ed took his brother's dick off of his mouth.
Oh, okay.
Not the right way to say that.
Yeah.
And said, "What does it look like? I'm blowing you." Ed continued pleasuring his brother, and as he started to feel better and better, an immense amount of alchemic power burst through his penis, causing an explosion. Even more surprising, the explosion blew away the armor, revealing that it was just Winry in disguise all along. Winry is the female childhood friend of the Elric brothers. Ed looked at her and said, "You have a dick?"
My confusion, it grows.
Winry looked at him, ashamed, and said, "I'm sorry, I just never get any action. Not a lot of guys like a girl with a dick." Ed felt sympathy for that freak of nature and made a decision. He whipped down his pants, put himself on all fours, spread his ass cheeks, and said, "Do what you want with my body." Before Winry even had a chance to do anything, Roy came in and said, "Ed, don't let her fuck you. It's actually Envy disguised as Winry, disguised as Al." Ed put his pants back on, whipped out his wand, and yelled, "Adava Kedavra," killing Envy in one hit. Ed looked at Roy and said, "I'm still up for an ass fucking. What about you?" Roy merely said, "I come fire," and left. Ed was sad that no one fucked him in the ass, so he decided to use his alchemy to create a dildo, and he fucked himself silly, happily ever after. The end. So, the first decent use of actual alchemy in any of the stories you read was in this stupid fucking nonsense joke story.
Wow.
Get it together, Fullmetal Alchemist fanfic community.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Maybe they feel that it's too serious.
And we discussed this very briefly pre-recording.
Yeah.
It is too serious for this show, even though we said it gets into a lot of dark and gross and even like gothically horror-y things.
Yeah.
it's always like in your story earlier, you talked about Major Armstrong
With
had
the
the sparkles
sparkles,
above
yeah.
his head. Like, that's the thing that actually happens. Like, there's a lot of very lighthearted, very, like, cutting the tension, humor-filled moments, even in, like, except for, like, the super, super, super grim, darkest
Right.
times in the show. And for all that, there's almost no humor, like, in these stories at all. So, yeah, maybe this person was taking the piss on that.
Well, no, I meant maybe the fan fiction writers in general feel like their craft is too serious to be making, alchemy dongs.
But that's the whole, like, why don't you just write I don't know. This
We've
gets
been
back to my
through
main
this
thing.
before,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
We've been over it 100 times. Yeah, I don't know.
I told you, it's because the characters are already developed, and you're not writing it because you want to write a sexy story. You're writing it because you want to see these two characters that you already know have sex.
Oh, okay. That you already know.
Yes.
End of thought. Have
Correct.
sex. Second
Yes.
thought. Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, I don't think that it's canonical that Ed and Al have sex.
Isn't it? No.
I don't think so.
No. I mean, you're already
Right,
acquainted with them.
I
You
get
want to
what you're
see
saying.
them finally reach the point that you want them to reach.
but it's not, the characters removed from...
No.
We've been over this.
I don't understand why
You
you don't
say
understand.
tomato, I say tomato, etc. So, you have another one?
Yes. Read this one in its entirety again, because this one's only 524 words. And this one was extremely bewildering to me also. Because it wasn't billed... Well, I'll get to it. This one, it says Breakfast at Armstrong's, and it is by...
I said, what about?
Yes. It's by Anime Fan Willa. And it was published in 2010. This is for the Alex and Envy who are engaged on Facebook. I think this is from like a Facebook role-playing group. They
Gotcha.
wrote this story as a gift for their role-play wedding.
I'm
making a lot of faces.
I'm still trying to pay off the bills from my Facebook wedding.
Alex sat
Never should have invited Tom. No, that was MySpace.
Yeah,
Fuck.
good.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Anyway.
Most of our listeners probably won't get that either. Oh, God. Kill me now. Anyway, Alex sat at the kitchen table and sipped nonchalantly on his morning coffee. He was wearing his white button-down shirt and tan pants, reading the newspaper with his legs crossed. Just then, Envy walked into the room in his oversized t-shirt, parentheses. It actually belonged to Alex. He'd thrown it on in a desperate attempt to find clothing that morning, not wanting to walk naked in front of his partner for obvious reasons.
One second.
Parentheses.
Alex is Major Armstrong?
Yes.
Okay. So, enormous guy, whereas Envy, very slight.
Correct, yes. He didn't want to walk naked in front of him for obvious reasons. I'm not sure if they're together, what are the obvious reasons?
He's very ashamed of he doesn't have a positive body image.
I guess, is that
Although
obvious?
if I were
though?
him,
Yeah,
I probably
I'd
would,
have
I think.
Pretty good body image.
I mean, I
if
kind of
was
value androgyny, though. Maybe he doesn't.
Maybe.
Maybe that's why he hates himself so much.
Maybe.
He wishes he were Alex Armstrong, a big,
Burly dude.
muscle man who sparkled all the time, and instead he's this waifish...
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could stop wearing midriff shirts.
Goth-looking,
That would probably
yeah.
help to dispel that. But anyway, he yawned. He stretched his arms above his head as his lungs filled up. When he put them down, the large clothing slipped off his shoulder. Alex got a nosebleed and spilled his coffee all over his white shirt. Oh shit, he howled, feeling the burning liquid on his chest. He quickly ripped open the buttons and gaped at the bright red skin. Geez, Envy spat and lumbered over to the larger man, still half asleep. You're really incompetent, aren't you? He blushed, seeing the abs that were now a mere foot away from him. Alex smirked and stood up. He cast a huge shadow as he towered over the smaller man. Envy gulped and placed his palm on the bare muscles in front of him. Suddenly he was swept off his feet, and before he could grasp what had just happened, realized he was lying on the kitchen table. His seme, I don't know how to pronounce these two words. The
Seme?
S-E-M-E and the U-K-E.
I think we discussed in the Sonic episode that was probably Uke.
Yeah, well that one, yeah, but
okay.
this is the counterpart.
Semi? I guess it would be Semi.
That's what I think.
Or maybe it seemed like meme.
I don't, that feels gross.
What does it mean?
It's the, the counterpart to...
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't know. I thought maybe it was short for semen.
No. It's the counter. Those are the two parts to a whole. Gotcha. But anyway. Shit, he struggled to get free, but Armstrong pulled the shirt over his head and then began to remove his bottoms. Not here, the homunculus shouted, his eyes brimming with tears as the Major stuck the head of his member into the tight hole, spelled W-H-O-L-E.
Wait, what?
What?
Can you read that last sentence again?
Not here, the homunculus shouted, his eyes brimming with tears as the Major stuck the head of his member into the tight hole.
But I thought he was taking his shirt off.
And he also then began to remove his bottoms, it said on the previous.
I forgot that he was pantsless, I guess, right? Because he was wearing the shirts that he wasn't wearing nothing. Okay. There was no lead up to it. And there
really isn't.
That's what threw me off. I didn't understand.
So, Major Armstrong just crammed the head of his member into the tight hole with a W. Envy's tears spilled over as Alex shoved his entire length into him. It hurts, he cried out. Stop it, it hurts. But Alex wouldn't stop, ramming into his lover over and over again. That's not what I would call a lover. I'm just going to throw it out there.
I mean, I am against the use of the word lover in any context, meaning person with which you have sex, because it feels super gross anytime you use it. So this doesn't really feel grosser, I guess. I don't know.
But Alex wouldn't stop, ramming into his lover over and over again. He thrust in faster and faster. The pace of Envy's squeals sped up in response. Eventually, his cries of pain became moans of pleasure, and he wrapped his arms around his lover's neck. I'm close, he gasped between thrusts. Me, too, the giant said. He slammed into the green dragon one last time.
What?
And they both cried out simultaneously. Eventually,
wait, doesn't he turn into a dragon or some shit?
Something like that.
Okay, I forgot about that.
It's another one of those, like, how many different ways can we refer to these people?
Yeah, right.
Eventually, Alex caught his breath and got up. Sorry, I came in you, he said point blank. Envy blushed and averted his eyes. It's all right, it felt good. Maybe so, but there could be dire consequences, he nodded solemnly. I know we usually use a condom, but I got kind of carried away this time. I can see that, asshole. Then Alex just went and put on a clean shirt and headed off to work, parentheses, where, by the way, he was pestered by Mustang to spill the reason why he was so late. He got one hell of a story, parentheses, leaving poor Envy all alone, naked on the table. Little did he know that his poor Ook would be needing his assistance to walk for the next week. So wasn't that romantic?
Damn. That's a thorough
ooking. Well, I mean, he was not prepared at all. And was in pain for most of the encounter. So, like, that's super... Stop it, it hurts is,
no affirmative consent there.
Yeah, nope. But that's what... Like, this was a gift to these people who just got engaged on Facebook.
That's what I've forgotten about that. That's
and also, great. It's not, like, tagged... Non-con or
like
dub-con or anything like that. It's tagged romance humor. So that's...
I'm laughing, but I'm broken inside.
An interesting message to be sending, in my opinion. But
that is. I've forgotten that it was a gift for somebody's wedding. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That is super great.
So here, for your wedding, I'm going to write a story about you and your new spouse raping each other on a kitchen table.
To be fair, I think only one of them was
raping. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay.
It was only going one way.
Yeah. So that was... something.
You don't think it's uke? Like ukulele?
Yeah, no, it probably is. Like a cuke.
Or like a cuke? Yeah, exactly. Which is a fruit.
I'm going to look up the official pronunciation.
Okay, you do that. I'm going to go to my next story. It is, I think I mentioned this earlier, it's really hard to find stuff where Alphonse, who I've made a typo here in my notes and called him Alphone, which would have been funnier if that would have been his name and throughout the whole show, is still without his body and therefore is a giant sentient suit of armor. Were I inclined to write Fullmetal Alchemist fiction, this would be the first place that I would go, yet it was very, 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 very sparse. This was the best version of it that I found, and it was tagged on Archive of Our Own. This is Spikes by Curry Jolikia on Archive of Our Own. And it was actually tagged Armor Sex.
Oh.
And I excitedly clicked the armor sex tag to find only this story and one other story by the same person who wasn't as good, but was about the same kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty disappointing. So here we're also wandering into Elricest, because I could not find anything else with armor fucking in it. This was like literally the only story. But so here we are. Also, I figured that you would at some point hit Elricest in the stories that you were doing.
I didn't. I tried to pick other stuff.
Yeah, I was also trying to, but I figured that one of us it would just happen. And unless you count Ed being on the other side of the bathroom door while Al is jerking off,
well,
which it's like tangential, I guess. If that was your thing, you might get a little bit out of it.
Yeah,
whatever.
I think, yeah.
But so this starts like at the beginning of the story, almost, with Ed saving Al. You know, they're trying to save their mom. They fuck up. Alphonse is going to be consumed, but Edward manages to save him by transferring his soul into the sentient bit of armor. But in doing so, Ed gets all fucked up. He loses an arm. He loses a leg. And he's basically like bedridden for like over a year. But in this time, new suit of armor Al is like consoling him and saying you didn't have to do this for me, and oh my god, what are you going to do? I feel so bad. Ed is like, I love you the same way that I always did, and then he like tenderly kisses him and stuff, and it's very strongly implied that they had been fucking as young children long before this ever happened. So then we flash forward like a year or two. Ed now has his automail and is now an alchemist. I don't know if Al is an alchemist at this point, but Ed at the very least is. But they still continue their incestuous sexual relationship. So he recovers enough that they can start fucking again. But the bitch about being a sentient suit of armor is that you have no genitals. But luckily, the boys are alchemists. The broad plate of Al's armor was wider across than Ed's whole body, and nearly as tall alone as his whole torso. With Al laying on his back, stabilizing and guiding Ed's already exceptional balance with his hands, Ed could spread his much smaller body across Al's chest plate and cover most of it with his own. This method was the best they discovered for bringing their bodies together closely. Ed could cuddle the smooth metal free of buckles, welds, and seam lines, saving his own skin from unintentional wounds, while remaining close enough that Al could see him over Al's own chest. Comments about the instrumentality of Ed's height in creating this visual difficulty were tactfully avoided. That's a running joke in the show that Ed is habitually smaller than his younger brother because he is an 8-foot-tall suit of armor. Did you find pronunciation for Yuk and Seam?
The general consensus here seems to be Seme and Uke.
I guess, because they're probably Japanese.
Yeah, they
right?
are.
So the A at the end.
Yeah.
A. Makes a lot of sense, I suppose.
Yes. So there you go. That's.
I'll try my best to pronounce them
time.
as such in the future. Al, hold still. Ed's chest swelled with a deep lungful of air, the tendons of his throat tightening like cords beneath his skin. His expression was one of intense, distant concentration as he shifted his position, abs flexing tight to draw the small of his back straight, roll his hips forward. The resultant motion made him gasp, bite his lip. Gold hair, untied from the usual ponytail, slipped over his shoulder with a soft sigh. Gold hair untied from the usual ponytail slipped over his shoulder with a soft sigh. So they're saying his hair sighed?
Yeah, like I think like the sliding sound, or maybe when he sighed, I don't know, but it doesn't sound like he's sighing. It sounds like he's pretty...
Catching and sticking on the sweat of his nape. That sounds a lot dirtier than it actually is.
Yes, it does.
The tension fell out of his thighs, the angle of his knees collapsing. His calves hit the backs of his thighs. At the same moment, his ass landed hard, spread and completely filled on the cold metal of Al's chest. Beneath his brother, Al gasped, and his hands jerked up reflexively to grip the curves of Ed's thighs, one metal and one flesh. Nissan, Al managed, and that's, I'm going to say it, Nissan, like the car. That's not how you actually pronounce it, but I can't pronounce it properly. I've been trying for 20 fucking years of watching anime to say it the way I can't do it, so I'm just going to pretend like it's the car. Y'all motherfuckers can deal with it. Al managed, embarrassed, still after all the years of making love to his brother. Ugh, God, that was not a thing I ever wanted to come out of my mouth. First in his flesh body, and now in his armor body. You should be careful. It's not thick enough, Ed panted, jaw slack, bottom lip red where he'd been biting it. He lifted his hands from Al's chest where they had been braced against his weight, slipping the flesh one between his legs. His flesh hand, right. He's got one metal hand, one flesh hand. Beneath his legs, under his hard red cock. Just behind his balls, an alchemized spike of smooth, cold steel jutted out of Al's chest and deep into Ed's body.
There you go.
Finally!
There you go.
It took this to get to somebody making a sex toy out of somebody else's body using alchemy.
Took long enough. Maybe.
I know, right? We're practically at the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it really threw me off that they called it a spike.
Yeah, I was also like,
they then mentioned that it's tapered and rounded and stuff,
that's
so that
not
it
what a
doesn't like
spike
impale,
is.
but that's not what a spike is. Then it's a pole.
Or like a nub.
Yeah, exactly. The tip was rounded, and the whole spike was tapered, beginning with a small circumference and quickly broadening to the kind of girth that Ed could, after 2 years of practice with his brother, take into himself with great pleasure.
Gross.
Ed slipped 2 fingertips back and under, rubbing the rim of his hole where it stretched around his brother's smooth metal, and soothed some of the burn that had come from burying Al so deep, so fast into himself. What he found there satisfied him, because Ed looked up through sweat-sticky bangs with a happy, confident grin at his brother. "I can do it," he said, even as Al's eyelights widened in shock. Ed had pushed himself upright again, gasping with pleasure, and lifted his automail hand from Ed's chest. Ed could sense Al's conflicting emotions, able to read the nuances of his brother's mannerisms no matter the body he inhabited. If he'd been flesh, Al would have been licking his lips, watching Ed with alarmed but magnetized gold eyes, eager and embarrassed, petrified to move, even though his hard cock was buried to the hilt in his brother. Ed savored that mental image, clapped hard, and brought his palms down with an eager strength on his brother's chest. The alchemy rippled through Al's chest plate, stretching the girth of the metal cone that Ed had alchemized in place on its center. The elder of the Elric brothers cried out, palms leaving his brother's chest as he arched back, hair slipping past his shoulders and getting caught between his lips, thighs spasming tight against Al's chest. Hungry, Ed writhed in place, trying to drive Al's spike deeper into his ass, but he was already pressed flush to the solid steel of Al's chest plate. So again, now not only was this the first actual use of alchemy as a sex device, but now they're actually using it. It's already inside, and now he's going and making it bigger.
Yeah. That's
like
good
this is what every story in this universe should be. Every single fucking one.
I 100% agree with you.
Except for maybe the incest. We could probably leave that out of some of them. Nissan, Al gasped, hands tightening around Ed's thighs. His voice was hungry too, just as eager for Ed's body as Ed was for his own. Nissan, try to move, he suggested. Even the metallic echo that overlaid his voice didn't detract from the earnesty of it, nor from his excitement.
Earnesty?
That's what it says. Ed grinned, showing teeth. His gaze was intense when he met and had Al's. Gold eyes and pinkish eyelights exchanging absolute trust in a split second. Al, I want more. Want you. Al punctuated this by rising up, toes braced on the floor below them, calves straining, and as he slid upward, Al's attention was captured by the way Ed's body refused to let go of the spike on his chest. As the low evening light caught it, the metal shone like glass, liquidy slick with fluid, lubrication, and trace slick lines of Ed's red blood.
No! No! No!
Al twitched a little at that last bit. So did Kira. No amount of Ed's reassurances, and he'd given plenty, could completely convince Al that it was okay to make his brother bleed. Ed always reminded him that it was Ed who shoved himself so freely and fiercely onto Al, but the younger brother still felt a twinge of guilt at the sight. So there's some more, pumping up and down on the chest spike that I'm not going to read. We get a very nice closing paragraph, I thought. As Ed's hips snapped forward and down, driving the rounded point of Al's smooth, phallic spike straight into Ed's prostate, blanketing his senses in a final burst of white, pin-sharp pleasure before he came across both their chests. Memories of nights long gone surrounded them like wisps of mist, barely seen, barely noticed, present still. Ed collapsed onto Al, breathing hard, heart hammering, hair stuck to his forehead and throat, eyes closed in bliss and skin cooling quickly on the metal of Al's chest just above where his heart would be. Al quietly clapped and pressed his hands to his own chest, gently sliding his spike out of his brother's body and smoothing it back into the metal plane of his chest. Ed bonelessly, there we go again, sprawled across him, his cheek cuddled against Al's, his whole body sticky from fluid and cum everywhere. I like how they had to separate fluid and cum.
Yeah, what?
Al whispered his brother's name with respect and love in every
Respect.
iteration, wrapping one arm across the small of Ed's back to hold him close. Their pleasure was no less true and no less precious than the pleasure they'd once found between their shared bedsheets in the dark of their bedroom at Pinocchio Oba's house. So, yeah.
That's gross.
Fine.
That whole business just made me feel real icky.
Yeah, incest is, I try to be very open-minded about things sexually.
Yeah.
And realistically, if two people, now these people are not consenting adults as they're both well under the age of 18, but
yes.
Hypothetically, if two people are consenting adults and they happen to be related and they feel like fucking, I don't understand why that is a problem really, but there's that ick factor that I can't get over the hump on.
I mean, I
feel that more as a failing on my own side.
I don't know. I guess it offends me less when it's two people of the same gender because they can't accidentally have like a terrible malformed baby, even though I know that that's not really that likely anymore.
First of all, it's not likely, and second of all, there are plenty of ways to handle that shit nowadays.
Well, yeah, okay. But what if they don't?
It's probably not going to happen anyway.
But I guess...
Was it about how hot that scene was?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. I think as a person with a sibling, I guess that's why it grosses me out so much. Like, I have a friend who's an only child who doesn't, like, get why it skews me out so much. And I think you can't really understand that unless you have a sibling. Does that make sense?
Maybe. I don't know. I can't argue against it, I guess, because I also have siblings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But, like...
So, you're not into Alricest.
No.
You're not into Wincest.
No.
What cest are you into?
None.
Come on, there's got to be some out there.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I can think of any sibling OTPs.
I mean, first of all, these aren't real people.
Yeah.
Second of all, they've seen things that are fucked up beyond belief.
I guess,
you know what I mean?
I guess I'm more into it when they're twins. Because that makes more sense to me in my mind. Like, if there was another me, like, I'd be like, maybe I can see that. You know, it's the same, like, kind of clone conversation we've had before. Like, if you could clone yourself, would you hit that? Like, I mean, the twin thing doesn't skew me out as much, I guess.
Yeah. Although
I mean, I might feel differently if I had a twin.
That's weird, because twins are not intrinsically the same person.
No, I know.
Intrinsically, they're
but
not
I
the same
think
person.
that
Whereas
I
a clone
feel...
of you is intrinsically the same person.
But, like, you've got, like, that twin bond or so I read in every sort of, story that's ever been written, So,
I don't know that it extends to fucking...
No, but, I mean, it might.
There was a story, I didn't choose it, I only skimmed it real quick, but it was about how Al didn't have a body and Ed felt bad for that, so he created some sort of alchemical psychic link between them so that Ed could feel, or that Al could feel what Ed was feeling when he fucked Winry.
Whoa.
Yeah, I didn't pick that
Did they get her permission for that? Because, I mean, I don't know, I didn't
read that far in.
I think that would be important to me.
Maybe for the sequel we'll pick that one. There were, one of the offshoots of Elricest is the Elric Winry three-way. There's a fair bit of that out there, but this was the only one where I saw where Al wasn't actually there, and it was only like a psychic link thing. So, do you have another one that you want to do, or no?
Sort of.
I got one more. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. If you do, that's
it's just a rewriting of Like a Boss.
Okay, no, I take it back. You have to do this.
You can read it if you want. I'm not going to read it to the tune of the song or anything.
So it's like a parody of Like a Boss.
Correct.
Of erotic Fullmetal Alchemist fanfiction.
Correct. Yes. Would you
Those are
like
words I never thought I would utter.
I'm not going to keep saying Like a Boss at the end of each of these because that's going to get really repetitive and I'm going to get
I can do it if you'd like.
Yeah, go nuts. Here.
No. You read read the lines and I will say Like a Boss.
I wake up.
Like a boss.
I take my shower.
Like a boss.
I polish my chest.
Like a boss.
I drop the soap.
Like a boss.
Did I say I dropped the soap?
Yes.
Okay.
That was what I was laughing
Get
at
raped
for 8
by my
minutes.
friend?
Get raped by my friend?
Mm-hmm.
Like a boss, I guess.
I rape him back.
Like a boss.
I kick him out.
Like a boss.
Take a dump.
Like a boss.
I dump glitter on me.
Like a boss.
Make my ding dong sparkle.
Like a boss.
Named it Winky.
Like a boss.
I'll give you a second before I continue.
Whew.
Watch some Full Metal.
Like a boss.
Go to work.
Like a boss.
Kill my groupies.
Like a boss.
Rip off my shirt.
Like a boss.
Scream at Edward.
Like a boss.
Do some coke.
Like a boss. Well, that one's just
I know. I thought that was a bit of a cop-out, too. Take off my pants.
like a boss.
Pass out in the street.
That also is straight
That's
from
in the sewer.
Oh, you're right, it is. Okay. Like a boss.
Almost get hit by a car.
Like a boss.
I wake up again.
Like a boss.
Have a bachelor brunch.
Don't know what that is. Like a boss.
Eat some fat cakes.
Don't know what those are. Like a boss.
Drink some orange juice.
Like a boss.
Cover it with a napkin. You'll get it in the next sentence.
Like a boss.
Get roofied anyway.
Oh, okay. Like a boss.
Make a Build-A-Bra.
So,
That one I'm lost on.
hold on. Is that supposed to be Build-A-Bear?
No.
Or did we just stumble across the next billion-dollar industry
No, it's
of
not.
mall chain stores?
I'm Googling Build-A-Bra. It's a popular store on iCarly that sells bras and bra parts to create a bra to one's liking.
Oh,
So,
damn it.
yeah, sorry.
I thought that was my ticket.
And put it on.
Like a boss.
Do it again tomorrow.
Like a boss. That's got too many syllables.
And then the next two lines do not have like a boss. It just says, who's my daddy? My mom.
So, I really enjoyed the beginning of that.
Mm-hmm.
It really kind of tapered
It
off
did.
there
It
towards the end. It
definitely
got
did,
a
yeah.
little cheese monkey towards the end,
Correct.
for sure. Yeah, it got a little.
It
too
definitely
random
lost
near the
momentum,
end.
yeah.
Yeah, at the end. Also, I don't know what. So with the polish my metal chest or whatever.
But it's
And yell at
Armstrong. He
Edward.
doesn't have a metal chest.
Right, that's the thing. It's so all over the place. I can't tell if
Well, I
this
think
is.
it's to polish my chest. Like, I think he was just like making it shine. Because doesn't he have like a shiny, like sparkle?
Okay, so it is supposed to be Armstrong.
Yeah.
Because when I heard polish my chest,
No.
I was thinking, ow. And
No,
then-
I'm pretty sure it's Armstrong like a boss. Is the title of the story.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Either you didn't say that or I didn't.
I think you just weren't listening
I
to
just
me.
wasn't listening. That's entirely possible.
It's by What the Dark
Okay.
on fanfiction.net.
Okay, no, that
So,
makes a lot more sense than what
does
I
it
was
make a
thinking.
lot more sense?
Now, what I was thinking, yeah, I couldn't figure out who the
Okay.
fuck they were supposed to be or where they were or what time period they were in or anything like that. Although I'm not sure who is raping him and who he's raping.
Agreed.
Unless this is the same guy who wrote that Envy thing.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was something.
Yep. That was all I got. I'm done now.
I've got one more. Now this is one that as I was getting ready to come over here to record, I was still kind of disappointed with everything that I had found overall. So I went looking for one last thing. I'm just like, I want to look for just something that'll be anything. Just something that'll be weird or surprising, or whatever. So I picked my Fullmetal Alchemist character that I thought was the unsexiest Fullmetal Alchemist character.
Oh boy.
And I picked them
I'm so excited.
out of the fanfiction.net character filter, and I clicked on the story that looked the most interesting. I have barely read this. I copy-pasted the whole thing. You're going to be discovering it along with me. Although, I think fans of the 4 episode, I know there's none of you out there because that was horrible. You're going to be in for a treat. So this is called Gluttony's Feast. Now, I'm sure that Gluttony is supposed to be Gluttony. Who
It's
is
a
one of...
gluten-free feast?
Nope. Glutney, Gluttony, not gluttony or gluttony.
Right.
Not spelled correctly, is one of the homunculi that we mentioned earlier, along with like envy and lust and whatever that are named after the 7 deadly sins. Gluttony looks like, even though this is a cartoon, he's the most cartoonish looking character in the cartoon. Like, he looks more like everybody else is drawn in like an anime style where they look like an anime person. Gluttony is drawn like a 1930 American's cartoon. He basically looks like if Popeye like gained 400 pounds. But he's like bald and he's got a gigantic nose and like a round face.
I honestly forgot that he even existed until you just mentioned that.
He's super fat, but also his entire torso opens up into a second sideways mouth that swallows things whole and has an eye in it, if I remember correctly.
I'm Googling a photo of him because I forgot entirely that he even existed on the
he
show.
totally does. And he's portrayed as, like mentally disabled or something. He talks like an idiot and like very slow with a high-pitched voice and all that.
Like an idiot.
So this is Gluttony's Feast by AJ Angelique on fanfiction.net. Disclaimer: I don't own Fullmetal Alchemist or any related characters. Don't say. If I try to make it out, I'm lying, spelled L-I-E-I-N-G. I'll transmute your ass to hell and back. Do I make myself clear? With that said and done, on with the show.
Oh my god.
Gluttony's Feast by AJ Angelique.
I just keep remembering that, once I was young and would have thought that was like funny in some capacity, and that makes me want to die.
See, now, much like last episode with Zindine, I don't know that this person was doing it on purpose. I think that maybe they just didn't know how to spell gluttony.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. Winery, although that makes me think that maybe they were, but winery is definitely spelled winery, like a place that makes wine.
Speaking of, I'm going to take the fridge.
Winery woke up slowly and painfully. Squeezing her eyes shut, she slowly opened them. So,
she's okay.
Right out the gate.
So she squeezes them shut and then opens them again,
Oh, so they were never open. She's just squeezing them closed tighter and then open.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Winery woke up slowly and painfully. Squeezing her eyes shut, she slowly opened them with a light moan to glance around herself. Since she was lying on her back, she stared up at the ceiling to see a single yellow-white light shining down on her. Carefully, she looked around as she ignored the light throb of pain in her head. This only showed her she was laying on a white sheet in some dark room. This only showed her that? Whatever. She knew it wasn't a bed. It was way too, with only one O, hard to be a bed. Mm-hmm. It had to be a table. Makes sense in the long run. But she wasn't just on...
Yeah, it does. You're right. That was a good story.
The end. But she wasn't just on a table. She was tied up and laid on a rather large platter. Thankfully, though, she was still dressed. Whew.
There's a plate on the platter?
Where did it say plate?
A sheet on the platter.
Yeah, apparently. Yes.
It's not how I would have done it, but...
It was at that moment, though, when Winery heard a low, crazed laugh. She quickly craned her head and moved her knees out of the way to see a rather large bald man dressed in black sitting at the end of the table.
Rather large? Dude's huge.
It was Gluttony, and he was staring at Winery with his teeth bared, mouth drooling and eyes bugged. Needless to say, Winery was scared by the look on his face and would have expressed said fear if it weren't for the bloody ball gag in her mouth.
Yeah. Was that like British slang, bloody ball gag, or is it actually bloody?
I don't know. Again, I haven't read this, so I just assumed it was bloody.
So we're discovering it together.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I would have thought that she would have noticed that beforehand, but maybe not. Actually, it was a nice pink color with a large hole in the middle and black leather straps with silver buckles. So the ball was a pink color?
I think so.
I guess.
How does she see it?
Covered in blood. Yeah, it's...
And is it covered? I guess that really still doesn't answer the question as to what bloody it was.
Nope. If seeing Gluttony wasn't scary enough, Winery let out a small shriek of fear when he reached his grubby hands out and wrapped his chubby fingers around the silver platter before he dragged it and Winery across the table and closer to him. When he was done, though, Gluttony just sat there and stared at her as he continued to drool before he finally wiped the drool away with his arm.
Riveting.
You look good enough to eat, Gluttony said in his usual excited tone as he reached out for her again. Winery freaked and closed her eyes. I like that. as his fingers took hold of her cloths and tore them off her body as if he were peeling a piece of fresh fruit as he threw the shreds of fabric over his shoulder. That was all one.
I figured, that's how I was picturing it in my mind.
Where they were to flutter to the floor in scattered heaps.
Wow, how beautiful.
Winery shivered with both fear and cold as her body became exposed to the crazed sin before her. The moment Gluttony was done peeling his fruit, he began to drool again.
I said euphemism.
He began to drool again as his big hands began to paw Winery's body. Winery began to get mad and tried to voice this as she squirmed around on the platter. Gluttony either ignored this or it excited him, for he stopped his random pawing to move his hands to her perked breasts and began to knead them like bread dough as he rolled the nipples around between his thumb and forefinger.
I don't think this person knows how you knead bread.
Take a very, very long time. That's probably like a bakery in like Portland or, like Austin or something where they knead bread that way.
Just tiny little finger bits at a time.
It's like a Subway where you can go in and you can see them doing it. But you can only get garlic knots and they're only this big.
It's like $5 for a crumb.
Winery let out another muffled noise as his actions brought unexpected and unwanted ripples of pleasure in her body as a bright red blush made itself known on her face. Gluttony grinned at Winery's reaction to the ministrations on her breasts. That's a great name for something, would be ministrations on breasts. So he continued to do so until her breasts were quite red and swollen. Finally, he removed his hands from her breasts and trailed his fingers down her bare stomach until he reached her nest of blonde curls. Winery looked down the valley of her stomach as Gluttony began to part her legs as her ankles were still tied together. She let out another muffled noise as she struggled against his hands once again, only to find that the sin was much stronger than her, and soon found her legs parted as the rope bit painfully into her skin, which caused her to let out a small cry of pain through the gag. Gluttony grinned once more at his fingers parted Winery's fold to expose her glistening flesh. I think I know what glistening flesh they're talking about. Revealing that Winery had indeed enjoyed his earlier ministrations. Boy, he really likes that word. Gluttony grinned once again, this time exposing his white teeth as he dipped his head down and flipped her legs over his shoulders as he stuck his nose right in her pussy and began to lap up her juices with his sloppy tongue.
Oh, he's got a huge
His character
gross
also
tongue,
has
yeah.
an enormous tongue, yes. Winery gasped as his tongue ran along her clit, causing fresh waves of pleasure to ripple through her body
Just
as he
flesh
continued
waves,
to lap up her milk and honey.
Oh, no!
That's what it says. Gluttony continued to lick her flesh as he added a fat digit into her virgin tunnel. Winery cried as the finger invaded her most private area. That's an odd choice of words. And snaked its way up to her sweet spot. Once there, the tip of his finger rubbed against the sweet spot roughly, provoking even more waves of pleasure to the point that Winery felt as if she was in a turbulent sea of pleasure, till the point that the largest wave crested and crashed.
Wow, there's a lot of ocean imagery here.
Thus throwing her into a body-locking orgasm as she gave a strangled cry through the gag. At the same time, Gluttony was richly rewarded with an overflow of Winery's milk and honey. It's the only way I'm referring to it from here on out.
Let's never refer to Megan said no.
I don't know if y'all could hear my wife in the other room, but she just said no. We'll see about that. As he greedily lapped up all the fluids. When it was all over with, Winery relaxed her body as she laid back down on the table and closed her eyes as she panted as best she could through her nose and the hole in the gag. But one moment she was catching her breath, and next, as she surprised by went, she felt the... What? But one moment she was catching her breath, the next, as she surprised by went. I didn't misread that.
Okay.
She felt the rope around her ankles being ripped and something hard at her wet entrance. Her eyes quickly opened, and she snapped her head up to see the obese sin was not only naked, but positioned at her entrance with his hands on her hips and the same crazed look upon his face. Winery took one look at the situation, and it didn't take long to realize what was going to happen. Well, she's a quick one.
Wow.
Her eyes widened with panic, and she began to squirm away from the sin. Gluttony was quicker, though, as he kept a steel-tight grip on her hips and buried his length in her virgin tunnel in one quick movement.
I imagine him having a really tiny peen for some reason. I don't know. It's just funnier to me that way.
Yeah, it is funnier that way, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
They didn't say those.
No, they haven't really described it at all. Winery screamed from the pain as she arched her back and tilted her head back and squeezed her eyes back, and hot tears rolled back down her... I'm just kidding. That's most of those. She arched her back and tilted her head back and squeezed her eyes shut as hot tears rolled down her face. Gluttony only savored her pain as well as the feeling of her around his rock-hard length. Doesn't say what length that is.
No, I mean, 1 inch is a length. I mean...
He then leaned forward enough to nip and lick at her exposed neck as he drew back his length and shoved it right back into her again. Winery cried out from both the pain and pleasure this motion caused. At the same time, she shivered under the sin's attention to her neck. Gluttony grinned, pleased that Winery was reacting well to his actions as he traveled, not his ministrations, as he traveled his way down her neck to her bare breasts and began to feast on them. Now, I don't think that that's a literal feasting yet.
I mean, clearly it's coming because a platter was mentioned. Like, nobody just has sex on a platter
Gluttony,
for fun.
And also
his name is Gluttony.
His name is Gluttony, but it's supposed to be Gluttony, and also he has a giant regular mouth and then also a giant torso mouth. So
Giant torso mouth would be a good name for something.
It really would, actually. Winery cried with each hard thrust as the familiar waves of pleasure coursed through her body once again. This time, though, Gluttony swam the sea of pleasure with her. Winery kept Winery kept her eyes closed, though, refused to even look at the sin who was fucking her brains out at the moment, and doing a very good job at it, too. Before long, she could feel herself reaching to Vortex once again.
I'm reaching to Vortex!
That's the only way I'm referring to that from now on. And she found him feel him. Before long, she could feel herself reaching to Vortex once again, and she feel him joining her in the swirl before the climax. Winery came first, releasing another strangled cry as her body found released for the second time. Gluttony came right after her and filled her womb with his hot seed to the point that their mixed fluids spilled out of her tunnel and pooled in the platter. But Winery wasn't to bask in the afterglow this time. For one moment, she was locked in the throes of her orgasm. The next, she was no more. This was because Gluttony had taken her entire head in his mouth and decapitated her in one bite.
Whoa, that was sudden.
Gluttony chomped on it a couple times before swallowing it all in one gulp and grinned.
Crushing out the tiny bones.
Quite pleased with his appetizer before he began to work on the rest of his meal.
Wow.
The silence in the middle of the night was shattered by the strangled cry of Edward Elric, the Fullmetal Alchemist. The blonde alchemist sat up in bed, staring ahead into the darkness with a panicked look in his eyes as he panted heavily and his skin was beaded with sweat. Nissan, came the metallic voice of Alphonse Elric just before the light came on. Al, Ed asked tentatively as he turned to his younger brother, who approached his bed, although, as we learned earlier, also appreciated his bed. What's wrong, Ed? Why did you scream? Al asked, his voice heavy with worry and concern. I had a nightmare, Al. I dreamt... Ed started to explain, but found that he couldn't speak as the dream flashed back to his mind. The whole thing had been sick to begin with, but seeing what happened to Winery, it made him shudder with revulsion and fear. It's okay, Ed. It was only a dream. You're safe here with me, Al said reassuringly. Ed nodded, but quietly but numbly. Even though it was a dream, it had seemed so real. End. So for those of you who didn't get enough Vor in the Vor episode...
Wow.
There you go.
Huh.
I really enjoyed Winery. And yeah, I'm not sure if that was purposeful or not. You know, honestly, I think that's one that we'll leave for the historians. It's better to not know.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm with you on that. I mean, the fact that they were both wrong makes me think that it was on purpose, but the fact that the rest of the story was relatively, serious makes me think that it wasn't.
Right, that was exactly my thought, too.
That's weird.
And you could, if you didn't know what English was, but you knew the sounds of English, and someone was like, spell gluttony and spell winry. Like,
but
I could see it.
Does the story say when it was published?
I not here, but I can.
Oh, right, you put it all in your notes. I forgot. Because I'm just, like, you can't really type on a computer these days and not have it correct what you're telling. Or at least tell you,
But
hey, this isn't a
think
word.
that it's a proper name, so you wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like,
No, I don't, because gluttony is a word.
well, but maybe that person doesn't know that. Maybe they've missed that entirely.
I'm just saying, it's hard to type a story or anything up and not have suggestions thrown at you from every direction. So I have a really hard time excusing people who spell wrong, because it's basically impossible.
September 6th, 2005.
Okay. Maybe computers weren't as eager to throw suggestions at you back then, but...
It has 7 reviews, 8 faves, and 4 followers.
What do the reviews say? You spelled gluttony wrong?
Okay, here we go. Special add-on section. Reviews for Gluttony's Feast.
This might be a fun section to add on.
It really might be. From the Weird 120. You don't say. That was extremely sexy. Well, it was until Gluttony, spelled correctly, bit her head off like a praying mantis. Then it was hilarious. Good show. From Keki-san. Wow. I can't say much about this. Quite interesting, though. I think I have found a pairing I can actually get a kick out of. Love to read some more. From John Milton. I don't think that's the actual John Milton, by the way. I think this is by far my favorite piece of fanfiction ever.
What?
By Nas Ibihik O. That was extremely disturbing, but I have to say the end was hilarious. By Chrissy. All caps. Dude, what the hell? That was sick. Now, does that mean...
Is that a good sick or a bad
Right, is
sick?
that like sick Ollie, or is that like I'm going to vomit? By the Chimera, that was the greatest thing I have ever read. It was so vivid and disturbing. It made me want to read more and more. One thing, you spelled gluttony and winry
Thank
wrong.
God. Thank you, Chrissy.
By Cameo One and Only, poor Ed. And that's all of the reviews. I mean, that'd be pretty fucked up if you had a dream where your girlfriend got fucked and then eaten by...
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, that would definitely be weird.
Okay, so, that was Fullmetal Alchemist, everybody.
Or some rough approximations.
Yeah, please don't base your judgment of the product
I
on
think
fanfiction.
the second one is on Netflix. If you are,
I think they both
listening.
are.
Are they? If
I
you're
believe they
listening
both
and you
are.
haven't seen it, that one's pretty easy to get
I
at.
slightly prefer the second one.
So do I,
It was
yeah.
called Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, but the first one is also pretty good.
I think I just like the animation in the second one better.
Yeah.
It's cool.
The second one is also, it gets darker faster. Like, the first one, it's like, it's just kind of like a shonen like anime for like 22 episodes, and then at the very end it's like, oh fuck, here's all this shit, and then the other one, like, you get like 6 episodes in and fucked up shit is already
That's what
starting to
happens
happen.
with so many of the animes that they like take a
deviation
flying
from the
leap
manga,
because
yeah.
it's just like, oh, like, and then suddenly this ridiculous ending that you totally didn't see coming at all.
And then sometimes you have Berserk where it hews right to the manga, but it stops after 6 episodes. But at the end of the 6th episode, you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? And then you read all 70 volumes of the manga because you have to know.
I didn't, but Chris did, and he
I
told
sure
me about
did.
it.
But yeah, so that was Fullmetal Alchemist. I was disappointed by the community. Come on, community, you can do better. If this doesn't stop happening, then I'm going to stop believing in people's propensity to come up with really inventive sex stuff.
Maybe you should just be a fanfiction writer. You could blow people out of the water. They'd be like, what?
But I'm so busy playing Dead Man's Cross and Tomb Raider.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Just try.
No,
man.
I agree with you.
Just try.
I agree with you.
Like, I'm trying to, like, nothing that we've done so far has been, like, my thing. You know what I mean? It's not, like, my particular geek out, like, thing. You know what I mean? Like, if we did, like, Super Jail or something, then, like, I might, like, that's the thing that I'm very specifically into, and, like, I know a lot of the ins and outs of it.
Are you into it? Like, sexually?
No, not really. Now that I think about it, there's not one character on that show that's sexually attractive, actually. But anyway, so I don't like all the things that we've done have been things that I kind of know or enjoy, but aren't like super crazy into. You know what I mean?
Right.
So. But it seems to me like if I were the kind of person that would write fan fiction about a thing, like if I were to write super jail fan fiction, which, man, I wonder how much of that is.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Like, I would think that if I cared enough about a thing to take the time to write fan fiction about it and publish it on the internet, then I would care enough about the thing that I would want to reflect the thing within my writing. You know what I mean?
Yes. I do.
But I guess there's people who just aren't so much into a thing and they're just into a character from a thing, and that's just not what I have.
That, I think, is the best way to describe it. Yes.
But it's just, it all seems so wrong to me.
I think that's the best way to describe my feelings on fan fiction. Like, you don't really care about the setting so much as you care about the characters. That's how I feel about just about everything I watch.
But the setting is so intrinsic to the character. I don't...
I mean, the setting is vaguely important. Like, I don't want to read Sherlock fanfiction where they, like... I don't like AUs in most of my fandoms. Because...
Right, that's what I'm saying, because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
But as long as they're living in the same place and, like, occasionally mention a case or whatever, it's close enough. Just put it in. Like...
That's what you said.
There you go. Okay, so there are 13 Super Jail fanfictions on Archive of Our Own, and there are
If you've ever gone searching for fanfiction on Archive of Our Own, by the way, you know that it's pathetically low number. There's got to be more, like...
And there are... Hang on here. On fanfiction.net, there are 137.
Oh, that's actually more formidable than I would have expected.
So there you go.
Maybe I will have to take a look at.
We can do that episode. We probably all pick.
I don't know.
I
don't know how much fodder we would have for that. Oh man. But yeah. So pick up your shit, Fullmetal Alchemist community. And if you out there know of some really good Fullmetal Alchemist fan fiction that makes a lot of use out of transmuting dildos and whatever,
please tell us.
Yeah, let us know. More of you have been writing in, and
That's
some
cool.
of you who have written in before continue writing in. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. I wish I would get back to you more quickly, but I am a shitty person, so
Life,
I don't.
man, though.
Yeah, also that. But don't worry if you write in, we will get back to you. Again, we are Slash and Burn Pod on Twitter. We are Slash and Burn Pod and Slash and Burn Pud at gmail.com. Those are two separate email addresses, by the way. That is not one very long Gmail address. You can write in there and we will get back to you. Thank you very much for listening. We love you.
It's true.
Do you have anything to plug? You want to plug your various internet businesses?
I mean, I got an Etsy shop. That's a thing that exists.
I don't know if you want to link that with this fucking monstrosity.
Yeah, you're right. I
don't.
Never mind. I do have an Etsy shop, but you'll never know what it is. So no, I do not have anything to plug.
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter at @procrastinarian, although I haven't really tweeted in a while. I do.
Do people use Twitter anymore?
Oh yeah, a lot of
do
people
they?
use Twitter. Yeah. I think the Periscope thing is over, and everybody's back to Twitter again.
What is Periscope?
I don't even know. I don't know. So again, thanks for listening. We will be back next time with probably a
tag, I guess. Right?
What tags would be interesting to do? If you have a suggestion for a tag and you can get it to us fast enough, you probably won't be able to because this probably won't be going up until we're recording the next one. But
or the one after that, even.
But, just in case.
But we'll get to it eventually, probably.
Yeah, tell us a tag you want us to do. What? Thank you very much to Solipsism for promoting this episode. We appreciate it. I think I could be wrong, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. You know, they're all sponsored by your Stamps.coms and your Audibles.
Mm-hmm. Audible sponsors of ours like every
your Bonobos.
Nope, don't know that one.
Yeah, clothing sites, your mattress stores, your Warby Parkers. I think
that one I know.
I think we might be able to. So it seems like other podcasts are in on the digital delivery of stuff, and also we'll ship you a bunch of shit, and then you ship back the shit that you don't want. of the
Right.
shit that we ship you.
Right.
I think we maybe can corner the market on philosophical concepts
Yeah.
sponsoring us.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So maybe we can.
Only problem with this is that philosophical
Philosophical concepts don't have real big coffers.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
unfortunately.
The fact that they're basically just an idea makes it hard for them to.
Right.
Pay
And even the
us.
people who espouse the philosophical concepts, you're either a philosopher or you're me. In either case, you're broke.
Right.
So anyway, we will talk to you soon. Thank you very much for listening. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. We love you.
Yes.
I've been Steve.
And I'm Kira.
Thanks a lot, everybody.